Wenye nguvu wawili wanapokutana, basi bila shaka mwenzangu tafuta mahali ukae kwa makini, utazame, uangalie sarakasi na mitikasi. Nikizungumzia mibabe ama mabingwa, na kutambulisha kwako timu mbili kubwa katika dimba hili la Euro, ambapo wao wako katika kundi la mauaji, ukipenda group of death, Ufaransa dhidi ya Ujerumani. Ufaransa ikiwa ni bingwa wa dunia mwaka 2018, huku Mjerumani naye akiwa ni bingwa wa dunia mwaka 2014. Katika mapambano matano kati yao, Ufaransa ametamba kweli, akishinda 3 na sare 2. Leo basi wanakujia moja kwa moja katika mechi yao ya leo ya dimba la Euro la makundi, wakiwa wako tayari kuvalishana njuga kutoka ule uwanja wa Ujerumani Allianz Arena ambao unatumika na klabu cha Bayern Munich. Lakini kwa ajili ya hayo yote, hujambo na karibu. Mimi naitwa Ahmed Bahaj, na ni wakati wa kukupatia uchambuzi wa mechi hiyo kubwa kabla haijang'oa nanga rasmi kutoka kule nchini Ujerumani. Upande wangu wa kushoto, mchambuzi wangu wa kwanza, msomi mjuzi, kocha wa zamani wa Thika United, kwa hivi sasa ni kocha wa Ruiru na pia na akademia yake ya soka, rafiki yangu wa karibu sana John Njogu. Alafu upande wa pili naye ulama, mtangazaji nguli wa kutangaza soka hapa nchini Kenya, Michael Were. Nitaanza na Were moja kwa moja. Je, unaona kwamba Ufaransa na Ujerumani anayo nafasi ya kulipa kisasi cha kutambiwa kweli kweli na Mfaransa?
Ni vita vya kinyuklia, niseme hivyo. Manake hawa ni miamba wa dunia katika malimwengu ya soka, wamepokezana ubingwa wa dunia, na kusema la kweli hakuna mnyonge katika pambano hili. Licha kuwa Ufaransa wanakwenda kucheza ugenini dhidi ya wajukuu wa mkumbuka ile dikteta Hitler.
Kabisa.
Sidhani kama itakuwa ni rahisi. Kwa hiyo hata mwekezaji lazima awe makini sana.
Na kocha John, wewe zaidi upande wa mbinu, Mjerumani mchezaji Goretzka ambaye kutoka Bayern Munich amesemekana hatacheza. Alafu kikosi cha Ufaransa, taarifa njema ni kwamba Karim Benzema ndani ya kikosi baada ya kuwa na wasiwasi ya jeraha. Pia Antoine Griezmann naye pia amepona jeraha, walikosa ile mechi ya mwisho ya mchujo. Wewe unaona ina ukubwa gani mechi hii kwa Ufaransa ama kwa Mjerumani?
Ahmed, asante sana. Mechi ama kombe ndilo linaanza. Ukiangalia timu zote mbili kwa kweli ni timu ambazo zimesukwa, kivikosi ziko sawa sana. Ukiangalia tuseme ndio mambo inaanza, sababu ukiangalia Ufaransa kwa kweli umeanza na kusema vizuri sana. Griezmann, muangalie Giroud, muangalie Benzema, ni vijana ambao wanashirikiana kwa hali ya juu sana, kumaanisha ni mechi kwa kweli vile Were amesema, ni mechi ambao wengi wanatamani na wengi wanaigoja kwa hamu.
Were, baadhi ya wachambuzi, wataalamu katika mitandao tofauti, Ujerumani na Ufaransa, wamesema ukiangalia vikosi viwili ukivilinganisha, Mfaransa hivi sasa hakamatiki, na huenda Mjerumani leo akakiona cha mtema kuni. Unakubaliana na kauli hizo?
Kinachompa ujeuri Mfaransa kuingia katika pambano hili akiwa kifua mbele ama kichwa juu, ni yeye ndiye bingwa wa dimba la dunia. Kwa hiyo ana kikosi ambacho kusema la kweli kimesukwa, kikosi ambacho kina wachezaji ambao wana uwezo mkubwa, kimombo tunasema individual brilliance. Ukiangalia kila idara, every department wamekamilika. Safi umaliziaji wameongeza Benzema. Ukiangalia vizuri wanajenga kile tunachoita utatu mtakatifu. Yupo Benzema, yupo Giroud pamoja na Mbappe ama ndio watatu hao wanatosha. Na kila mmoja ana kasi, kila mmoja mtulivu anapofika kwenye robo tatu ya mwisho ama anapopenyeza kuingia sebuleni kwa ajili ya kupachika magoli. Kwa hiyo vita kubwa sana leo hii, vita vya kinyuklia itashuhudiwa katika idara ya kati. Kila mmoja katika ubora wake atakayeweza kudhibiti mpira na kuchochea kasi ya mchezo, kucheza juu ya mstari, atakuwa inahesabika mwisho wa siku.
Coach, naja kwako upande wa wakufunzi wenzako. Joachim Low, michuano yake ya mwisho kwa Ujerumani amepata mafanikio makubwa, wameshinda taji la dunia mwaka 2018 kumburuza Brazil magoli 7-1. Na Didier Deschamps upande wa timu ya Ufaransa, unazungumziaje nani katika makocha hawa wawili unamkubali zaidi kutokana na uzoefu wake na kazi?
Ukiangalia makocha wote wawili ni makocha ambao wana ile tajriba ya hali ya juu sana. Ukiangalia makocha wote wawili wamekuwa na mafanikio ama wamekuwa na ile tunasema winning teams ama winning spirits. Ukiangalia nianze tu na Deschamps ambaye huyu ni Mfaransa, akaona kikosi kizuri na Were ameizungumzia sana haswa ile ushambulizi yake, kumaanisha atakuwa sana anaanza hii mechi akiangalia nipate mabao za mapema, sababu naye Mjerumani huyu anajua sana ile tunasema ulinzi ama defending yake. Anajua sana kulinda mabao ambayo kwa kweli lazima akiwa haswa yuko nyumbani ni kama tu yuko nyumbani, kwa sababu akianza kufungwa mapema na Mfaransa itakuwa ni jambo ambalo litakuwa la kusikitisha. Kwa maana lazima aanze na ile tunasema kulinda lango lake vizuri, sababu huyu Mfaransa ana kikosi cha ushambulizi kizuri sana.
Kaka Were, ni kundi la mauaji linamkutanisha vijukuu vya Vasco da Gama kama wanavyowaita Portugal, ambao wamekwenda kumburuza vibaya kweli kweli magoli 3-0 Hungary. Hiyo inampa nafasi nzuri. Hili kundi kwa hakika litakuwa gumu.
Ni kundi gumu. Wareno wajukuu wa Vasco da Gama wamejitahidi kadri uwezo wao. Dakika 80 za mchezo wakaja baada ya kugundua wenzao wamechoka. Kwa hiyo ikawa sasa kila mmoja katika ubora wake, na unaweza kuona Cristiano amefika na ule ushirikiano katika taratibu za kupata magoli 3. Kwa hiyo angalau inawapa nafasi kama mabingwa wa taji hili. Lakini sasa vipi kwa upande wa Ufaransa ama Ujerumani? Kuna maumivu makali usiku wa leo. Ni usiku wa vita. Deschamps kama mchezaji amenyakua dimba la dunia mwaka 1998, kiungo mkabaji. Amenyakua tena kama kocha. Yupo hapa na winda ili taji, na niseme kwamba hii ni kama finali leo hii. Ama vipi? Ni kama finali leo.
Finali kabla finali. Katika kikosi cha Ufaransa kumezuka manunguniko, rafiki yangu, ya kwamba Olivier Giroud yeye na mwenzake Kylian Mbappe. Giroud amekuwa na malalamishi kwamba Mbappe wanapocheza pamoja anakuwa mchoyo, ni kama anamuonia kageri fulani hivi, hampati mapasi akafunga magoli. Je, unaona hiyo huenda ikawatatiza ama ndio imepelekea kwa Deschamps kuamua kuanza na Benzema na Mbappe?
Hizo ni fitina ambazo ziliibuka walipocheza majuzi na wakasajili ushindi wa nadhani kwa magoli 3, Giroud kufunga 2, na kwenye vyombo vya habari unajua pia wana habari ni vierere kwa ajili ya kuchokora hapa na pale. Walifika na ikaonekana kwamba Giroud alalamika nikana kwamba kocha anamkingia kifua mara kwa mara, anampenda zaidi Mbappe, na ingekuwa hata walipokuwa kitoka uwanjani alimkumbatia badala na yeye pia vile vile kufikiwa na kumbatiwa. Mambo madogo, lakini mwishowe akamuita mwenzake, kwa maana Mbappe akamwambia nyumba ni moja. Kwa nini tupiganie fito ile hali tunapigania taifa la Ufaransa? Kwa hiyo ni mambo madogo, nadhani wametuliza, na sasa kikosi ambacho kitaanza leo hii ni kikosi sahihi kabisa. Yote ambayo anapewa nafasi kwa ajili ya kuwajibika atakuwa anafanya kweli.
Coach, wameamua makocha wenzako wote wawili kutumia 4-3-3, lakini 4-3 ile ni 4-3-1-2. Sivyo? Yani kuna Diamond pale mbele. Mchezo huu utamfaidi nani zaidi ukiangalia quality ama thamani ya wachezaji wale ambao watakaoanza?
Ukiangalia kwa kweli mfumo ambao makocha wote wawili wameamua ni mfumo ule tunasema attacking formation, sababu ukiangalia wote wameamua sana kuwapeleka wachezaji wengi mbele. Lakini ukiangalia mechi hili itakuwa inaamuliwa sana pale katikati. Ukiangalia haswa Ufaransa wako na Golo Kante, wako na Pogba pale katikati, wachezaji ambao kwa kweli wamezoeana sana, haswa wanacheza kule Uingereza, igawaje timu tofauti lakini wana uelewano zaidi. Ukiangalia pale katikati upande wa Ujerumani kuna Toni Kroos ambaye kwa kweli anajua sana. Nakumbuka Toni Kroos na Golo Kante wamepatana katika UEFA Champions League. Golo Kante amefanya kazi yake, kumaanisha leo itakuwa tu ni ile kuhakikisha tu kuwa yeye Golo Kante bado anatamba. Kumaanisha gome ya leo itaenda kuamuliwa haswa Bahaj pale katikati. Kocha ambaye ataipata right pale katikati atakuwa anapata ushindi.
Kikosi kile cha Ufaransa, Loris kutoka Tottenham Hotspur, Pavard, Varane kutoka Real Madrid, Kimpembe, Hernandez, wao ndio watakuwa wanaweka ulinzi ule wa timu ile ya Ufaransa. Alafu Paul Pogba kutoka Manchester United, N'Golo Kante mshindi wa klabu bingwa barani Ulaya msimu huu Champions League, Rabiot kutoka PSG, Antoine Griezmann, Mbappe, Benzema ndio kosi ambalo linategemewa kuwa litatamba upande ule wa Ufaransa. Na Ujerumani nyua mtu na uzoefu wake, ameshinda mataji karibu yote katika soka. Alafu Ginter, Hummels, Rudiger amesema haogopi yoyote. Alafu tunaye kina Kimmich, Kroos, Gundogan na Gnabry, Müller na Havertz. Kipindi cha kwanza tukimalizia, manake mchezo ndio unaanza, unabashiri vipi? Kuna magoli, nani kichwa nani atafungwa?
Naweza iweka kiuhalisia kwamba kiutaalamu zaidi ni kwamba ni mechi ngumu kusema la kweli, lakini kama shabiki naomba niwape wajukuu wa Bonaparte la pote kwa maana Ufaransa.
Haya, kwako?
0-0 kipindi cha kwanza.
Na mshabiki wangu, yote kwako. Unaposikia unasahau, unapotazama unakumbuka, lakini unaposhiriki basi unaelewa. Ni wakati wa kushiriki katika mechi kati ya Ufaransa dhidi ya Ujerumani. Karibu jukwani lako, tutarejea katika muda ule wa mapumziko, tuangalie mambo yatakuwa vipi.
For an exclusive fragrance experience, try Nivea Men Deep Impact Body Lotion with a long-lasting woody fragrance, deep moisture, and a fresh skin feel. Make an impact with Nivea Men Deep Impact. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Through trying to emulate such glory. Here is Hummels then, won the German Cup with Dortmund at the end of the season in what was a very fine run-in for the black and yellows after a slightly off patch for them over the new year. He feeds it into Gundogan, absolute star of the show for Manchester City as they regain their Premier League title this season. Of course, they did make it to the final of the Champions League for the first time as well, but Pep Guardiola unable, as indeed he was unable to do with Bayern Munich as well in his time there, to win Europe's ultimate club prize. There he goes again, typical scurrying there from Gundogan. He's so good in defence and in attack, he adds so much. It's going to be an interesting battle tonight, Tony, with Gundogan in the midfield for Germany and N'Golo Kanté in the midfield for France.
It's fascinating. It's so rare for Germany to be playing at home here in Munich and not to be considered the favourites, but that's the case. But as Bastian Schweinsteiger warned the French this week, please don't underestimate Germany. Playing at home, and just look at that midfield. Kroos of Real Madrid, Gundogan of Manchester City, Kimmich of Bayern.
Muller, lovely ball forward, finds Kai Havertz. Typically great first touch from the youngster. Havertz, who came into Chelsea from RB Leipzig and has taken a while to get going there, as indeed did Timo Werner as well. But I think somehow in England their value to the team was rather only judged in terms of goals and not in the all-round contribution that they bring to the team, evidenced by the fact that Chelsea made it into the Champions League and of course made it into the final of this season's competition as well and won it.
Werner on the bench this evening, and it's a good point you make, Angus. They do complement each other very well. Werner is a very selfless striker, really hard-working, very good at making driving runs, which opens up space, as was the case for Havertz's goal in the Champions League final.
And like Muller, a lot of assists this season for his side, even if he didn't get lots of goals himself. Free kick to Germany early on, a couple of minutes gone. Toni Kroos, of course, will deliver this one, the Real Madrid man, who was disappointed to see Atletico Madrid take the title in Spain this season. They didn't exactly thrill in the Champions League either. Kroos then, decent delivery, and it's over the top from Hummels.
Yeah, France, be warned, they know all about Hummels' prowess in the air. Remember the quarter-final of the World Cup in Brazil? His goal at the Maracana Stadium, the difference between the two sides, as Germany went on to win that World Cup.
Yeah, a lot of talking about the fact that the camp this time in the European Championships is very reminiscent of the camp in Bahia they had in Brazil, where they really got the atmosphere buzzing, and it took them all the way to the World Cup title. They were by far the best team in Brazil. They are not by far the best team here yet, but they are trying to be so. They are up against the side that is recognised as the best team.
The team spirit, which you mentioned, Angus, vitally important. These players don't have the chance to play with each other as much as they do at club level, so atmosphere is crucial.
Germany dominating possession at the beginning. I must admit, that's a surprise. I thought that France were actually going to have the possession, most of it, but Germany sitting in possession very easily.
I think we've come to expect that from this Euro. The hosts come out all guns blazing, And it's for the visitors just to weather the storm in the opening 10-15.
Germany playing with 3 at the back and wing backs. They have been playing 3-4-3 recently, but have moved to this positioning at the moment. It was a wave. They had to put Kimmich out on the right-hand side so that they could play Ilkay Gundogan and Tony Kroos, and also have Müller, Havertz and Gnabry in the side. Gnabry keeping Timo Werner on the bench this evening. Germany sticking with their recent habit of not playing with an outright number 9. Miroslav Klose's days are very much in the past now. But when you had a number 9 like him, why would you not play with a proper number 9? Here's Griezmann, oh, brilliant ball, looking there for Pavard. Down that right flank at every opportunity he can. Lucas Hernandez on the other side as well will like to get forward too.
Well, Griezmann's got a job this evening, because you've said Germany have a 4-man midfield, France just 3, so it's vitally important for Griezmann to do his defensive duty, which he does well. He enjoys it.
Well, that's good by Raphael Varane there, stopping Serge Gnabry getting round the back of him. Another good season for Barcelona. Funny story with Varane was when he was first contacted by Zidane, he kind of put the phone down on him, said he was too tired to talk, and his brother thought he was absolutely crazy. And the second time that Zidane rang up, he didn't hear it as he was watching YouTube. Thankfully, the third time, he actually talked to him.
Third time lucky. Interesting to see Havertz's early positions. Seems to have a roving brief already, which is tricky for the French defenders.
Yes, it's very interesting that both coaches have given licence to their front players to play the way they feel they want to. Particularly Didier Deschamps, who was almost boastful in the way that he had 26 players that were fit and ready, as Kai Havertz gets the first yellow card of the game.
Well, it's Kimmich actually, Angus,
yeah.
And it's yes, it's nasty.
I think that they gave it to the wrong one. I'm sure it must be Kimmich that got the yellow card, and Havertz was complaining about it.
Yeah, Kimmich put the reducer in, but very unusual for a player to get a yellow card this early in a major international game.
Well, Kimmich, very much one of the aggressive members of the German side. If Müller is the joker, well then Kimmich is the enforcer. He's always been serious. That's lovely. First sign here of Benzema and Mbappe linking up. Into Pogba. Benzema. That's very good work by Tony Kroos to stop the shot coming in, and oh, that's hit the referee. Well, surely the referee's going to stop the game and carry on. That's the new rule.
Well, true, but Germany had the advantage. The referee spotted that, so he thought play on. We saw an incident like that in the England-Croatia game. The referee interrupted a Croatian move. They weren't best pleased.
Müller into Gundogan, and Varane is there again, the Real Madrid man.
Vital interception, that. Had to use every inch of his tall frame. Early German tactic, Angus. Played over the top from midfield.
Little look at Robin Gosens there, one of the new men in for this championships, and who plays his football for Atalanta, who have become the new third force in Serie A, qualifying once more behind new champions Inter Milan and Juventus, who lost for the first time in nearly a decade. Unable there, Gosens, to get it. He scored actually his first international goal in the warm-up internationals coming into this game.
Same tactic again, Angus. Long ball from the back. It's because the French fullbacks like to get forward.
Pogba with the header. Griezmann. Gundogan almost in, but picked up by Hernandez on the other side. The Bayern Munich man upended by Matthias Ginter, the Borussia Mönchengladbach defender.
Two good tackles there, Angus. Very good. And I'm just thinking, Jogi Löw, this is his farewell. Not this game, but this tournament. He's been in charge since 2006. Remember, he was assistant to Jurgen Klinsmann, and then he took the job full-time. And I just wonder, Germany will want to give their coach a proper send-off for all he's done them.
Yes, he's reached the quarter-finals and the semi-finals. In fact, two semi-finals and a final back in 2008, but has never won this particular competition. This is his last chance. Goossens once more. Good tracking back by Rabiot, who has resurrected his international career in the last year or so as well.
That's right. He hasn't made the same headlines as Benzema, but still, remember, he point blank refused to play substitute, had a falling out with Didier Deschamps, but now back in the fold.
There's Didier Deschamps, like Jogi Löw, allowing the prodigal sons to come back. But obviously the whole story surrounding Karim Benzema, which is still live in the court system in France. Some were very surprised that he was brought back when there was court action still pending over him. Here's Kroos.
Such a tidy player, Toni Kroos.
Yes, whole career has been marked, and it's no surprise that he remains one of the most important players for Real Madrid. Kimmich, speaking of important players, but for Bayern, Kimmich came in a few years ago. Kimmich goes for the ball into the middle. Varane, though, once again gets there in front of Thomas Müller. Picked up by Pogba. Pogba gets the foul and the free kick. 10 minutes gone, and it's combative so far. Not really any action in front of goal. It's still goalless at the Allianz Arena, but two heavyweights playing like heavyweights.
That's unusual. Referee played the advantage, considered that Gnabry had made the foul on Pogba. Pogba, to his credit, rode the challenge and kept his balance.
Kimpembe rather overran that, but has managed to keep hold of it, and the Havertz came into him. Griezmann, the match winner in the semi-final 5 years ago rather than 4 because of the delay, because of COVID for these finals. France, though, on the attack. Mbappe, Griezmann. Griezmann gives the ball away to Kimmich. Kimmich looking for Havertz, but again, good tracking back by Rabiot. Plays his club football for Juventus, so wasn't very happy this season as Inter Milan came back in and won the title for the first time since Jose Mourinho was in charge of them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, this is France's real test. First real test, obviously the Euros, but in their two warm-up games, they turned over Wales and they beat Bulgaria handsomely. But Wales were reduced to 10 men early on, so France really haven't had a stiff test with Benzema back in the fold. Yes, the team looks fantastic on paper, but as Rudiger said before the game, you don't play football on paper.
Here's Pogba. Manchester United man looks to Pavard. Pavard gets a swift tackle from Goossens.
Look at the fullbacks, Angus, both on the halfway line. That's modern football, international as well as club level.
Yeah, they've got a back four, and yet they're still herring forward. Mbappe harried off the ball. The home fans like that. And now they get lifted because Havertz is coming forward. Look at that from Mbappe. We wondered whether or not Didier Deschamps had actually convinced the likes of Mbappe and Benzema to track back and tackle. Well, there's your answer. Here is Mbappe now on the attack, where most Frenchmen want to see him. Into Benzema. Benzema, Griezmann and Mbappe have only played 112 minutes of football together. And it would have been more, but Benzema had to go off with a dead leg against Bulgaria. Here is the Real Madrid man. That was a little bit short, though, for Hernandez. Müller. All-in tackle, but he's lost the ball. Conte at the moment is looking a little rushed, which is not often you say that about a man whose job it is to rush the opposition.
Indeed, generally he's one of these fortunate footballers who always seems to have time and space around him after he harries and wins the ball. Some uncharacteristic mistakes. Havertz's mistake there in giving away the ball was almost criminal. Even Thomas Müller, Mr. Experience, he overran it as well.
Here's Rudiger in his usual face mask.
Rudiger, he's a tough customer. He's the man who ended Kevin De Bruyne's Champions League final.
Here's Müller. Offside given.
Late flag though.
Well, that's customary, I suppose, these days, isn't it? You get a late flag. They tend to let the action develop now.
Well, this is it. Officials have been asked, just to see the end of the action.
I must admit, it's been a bit confusing when we've been doing Ligue 1 football this season. You do get a little bit lost sometimes into whether or not something is offside or not, because the flag doesn't go up until really late.
Ligue 1, that's French domestic football.
Yeah.
Strangely, we're watching the French national team. By my reckoning, there are only 2 players who play their football in France's Ligue 1. That's the 2 Paris Saint-Germain players, Mbappe and Kimpembe.
Here's Kante. That was nice by Hummels, but Pavard comes forward and it's put behind by Matthias Ginter in the first corner of the game. Comes after 15 minutes.
First time France have got behind the Germany defence. Lovely prodded ball through, a lot of space for Pavard. He loves to get forward. You remember his goal against Argentina in the World Cup finals.
Hummels was sliding in there, and his ex-Dortmund teammate Ginter managed to get there to stop it going across to where Benzema was occupying his usual position. Griezmann with the corner kick. Lovely ball in and over the top by Pogba. Oh, Pogba so close there.
Very strange defending, Angus. Almost zonal defending.
10 goals for Pogba in his international career, but that was a little bit far over. He'll be disappointed with that.
But he easily outjumped Rudiger. That's a worry for the Chelsea defender.
Yeah, those two, of course, come up against each other in the English Premier League. Now against each other for their nations. Havertz forward. Muller looking for Gnabry. It's back out again by Varane, who's having an excellent opening quarter of an hour. Ball back in by Kimmich. This time out by Kimpembe. And picked up by Benzema. Oh, but he's lost it to Gundogan. Gundogan plays a ball looking for Gnabry, but Gnabry had misread the pass. Into Benzema, who's come deep. Rabiot turns into space. Mbappe wanted it out on that left flank, and Griezmann is going to give it to him. Benzema into the box, looking for that 1-2 that they managed to produce. Mbappe with the shot, and Manuel Neuer is needed for the first time in the game.
Best chance of the game so far. Mbappe beats one, pulls the trigger, forces a very tidy save from Manuel Neuer.
Well, these two came up against each other in the quarterfinals of the Champions League this season, and it was Paris Saint-Germain who got the better of them. Paris Saint-Germain reaching the semi-finals for the back-to-back seasons. Of course, last season they went one better, went to the final and were beaten by Neuer and his Bayern Munich team. This season they got a measure of revenge, but I think they would have rather had the victory last time and not bothered with the revenge part of it.
Well, ironically, Angus, the man who scored the winner in that Champions League final was a Frenchman. He's on the bench for France, Kingsley Coman.
Yes, an ex-Paris Saint-Germain graduate, academy graduate that is. Number of PSG graduates who have gone on to really great things outside of PSG. And of course some coaches as well have done the same thing as well. Unai Emery won the Europa League with Villarreal, and then Thomas Tuchel, probably very satisfactorily for him, won the Champions League a year after he took Paris Saint-Germain to the final and then was fired, despite winning the league and the Coupe de France. Forward by Ginter, taken by Muller. Out by Rabiot, picked up by Pogba. Pogba looking for Mbappe. Well, even that was a little bit too far, but Neuer here, the sweeper keeper, living up to his name. He has no fear, does he? With Mbappe charging down on him. Gnabry. Got Goossens outside him. Goossens tries to feed it back in, but can't get it past Pavard. And Griezmann has come deep, feeds it into the right back.
That was well read by Pavard. It was Thomas Muller who asked for the pass. He saw the sign, did Pavard. Very clever. France just coming into the game more and more, especially in midfield.
Didier Deschamps there, won the title as a player back in 2000, is now looking to be the first player to win as a player and coach. Of course, he's done it with the World Cup, but he wasn't the first in the World Cup. On the continental stage, though, that would be history-making. Pavard looking for a free Frenchman. There isn't really one, but Pogba muscles well and feeds it back into the former Stuttgart man. Pogba looking for Mbappe, could find it on the far side. Oh, it's an own goal! Oh, terrible for Mats Hummels on his return to the national side after 3 years out. The Dortmund man has put France in front, and Hernandez gets the plaudits from his teammate with that cross. Disaster for the Germans. After such a cagey start, it's 1-0.
Great play by Pogba. At the start of it, digs the ball over. It's a decent ball in by Hernandez, but nothing more. And then Hummels, what was he thinking? Well, the ball bounced awkwardly. Oh dear, Neuer didn't stand a chance. That's a hammer blow for both Germany and Hummels. And Neuer's disgusted.
Well, it's the second own goal that we've had in Euro 2020 after Merih Demiral's own goal for Turkey in the opening game against Italy. And it's the current world champions who have one over at the moment on the team that they succeeded. There's that title. Now, Germany here, a team that is trying to get back to the glory days. This is a real test for them now. Well, we saw France get round the back of them twice in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and the second time they did it has led to the goal.
They weren't being outplayed, Germany. Far from it.
Here's Gosens. Into Müller. They will need his experience. Müller back to Gosens. Gosens still trying to go, but Pavard makes the tackle. And that's Benzema coming back to make the challenge in midfield. Well, there is the answer. That's what we were saying, definitely. It looks like the front men are all very much up for tracking back. Here is Gnabry, gets past N'Golo Kanté. Kimmich, ball looking for Müller, out by Pavard. Good block by Pogba against Gosens. Gosens back in again, and Müller puts it wide. Good reply from Germany.
Really good reply. They needed that. Müller, fully stretched, just couldn't get a clean connection. Here's the replay of the goal. The Germany fans will want to see this. Great ball by Pogba. It came out in awkwardly because Hernandez kicked it into the ground. Still, he's an experienced player. He's just got to compose himself now. It's been a good response from his team.
Over 70 internationals for Mats Hummels, over 100 now for Thomas Müller, looking to reach 40 goals. It wasn't the easiest one. He had to really stretch for it. But typical Thomas Müller, being able to conjure something out of something really difficult and unlikely. There is Müller again, looking for Havertz. Well reached, though, by Hernandez.
There was good improvisation by Müller.
Müller gets it back to Gosens. 23 minutes gone. Mats Hummels' own goal separates the two sides. The world champions from France in charge at the moment. Here's Gundogan. Sent Kanté the wrong way. Gundogan looking at and thinking about the shot, still going down. He's got the free kick.
France disagree. 3 players remonstrate with the referee straight away. That's how we created the space.
Just left the foot in, didn't he, N'Golo Kanté? Well, said that battle was going to be pivotal in this game. And this is a great chance for Germany.
Kroos will fancy his chances. It suits the right footer
of the ball. Well, he scored one recently for Germany. This one, though, will be more important.
No French defender lying behind the defensive wall. Only 4 men in that wall.
Another man over 100 international caps for the Germans. Never been any doubt about him. It's going to be Muller who runs over it. Toni Kroos then with the right foot and hits Rabiot in the French wall. Not the best free kick from the former Bayern Munich man.
Well, the wall did their job. They timed their jump really well. They weren't phased by Thomas Muller's decoy run.
Here is Kroos again. Tackled by Pogba, who insists he got the ball. And Kroos is taking a while to get back up again. Hummels.
Crunching challenge.
Into Rudiger. Halfway through the first half. Already living up to the hype this game. Havertz to Gosens. Well trapped by Pavard, who's doing a good job on him at the moment in the opening 25 minutes. Rudiger forward. Rudiger the central defender, but with that 3-man defence, he's playing quite wide as well. Gosens once more. Gosens in, looking for Havertz. Oh, Havertz nearly took it down. He knows he can bring that first touchdown brilliantly, as he's shown us plenty of times before.
Yeah, he's an unusual player, is Havertz. Got a sublime touch. Physically, he's still quite slight. Still a young man.
Kimmich. Not sure that was where he meant the ball to go to, but it's worked out quite well for them in the end. Muller goes down, tackled by Pogba, and this time the talisman of the midfield for France is penalised.
You just knew Thomas Muller was going to have a word. It's a clear foul. Quite what France are protesting.
I've never known Thomas Muller to be a diver.
No, he's a very clean player.
Yeah,
I agree.
But he doesn't have talk.
Radio Muller is how you described him earlier. That's his nickname.
And that's just because he talks to his teammates in training. It is a nightmare being on the other side, the opposition, when you're playing against him, because he does not leave you alone. So then, Toni Kroos has had a sighter.
Look at that. 6-footers in the wall. Rabiot, Pogba, they're 6'3". That's about 1.91 m.
Toni Kroos had COVID in the run-up to the Euros. It's got to be a little debilitating. What can he do with this one? Kroos goes for goal. He gets over the wall, but unfortunately he clears the crossbar as well.
Yes, there was a lot of space between his shot and the crossbar. Not his best effort.
Toni Kroos plays his club football with Rafael Varane and Karim Benzema at Real Madrid. Now coming up against them as Didier Deschamps watches on anxiously.
I wonder if the Germans might consider changing free kick style.
Yeah, it'd be a big arse though, wouldn't it? Because he's got such a command on those set pieces. Well, we might not be full, we might only have 14,500, but they aren't half making a lot of noise. It's wonderful to have proper noise again in football. News came out yesterday, actually, that in the semi-finals and the final, which of course take place at Wembley in England, where England beat Croatia on Saturday, the allocation for tickets has been up to 45,000, which is half capacity at Wembley.
Well, that'd be great if it comes off, all things being well.
Yes, there was a disturbing amount of non-social distancing in that game against Croatia. Havertz, Muller nearly managed to make that a divine first touch.
Yeah, the obvious pass was out to the left wing for Gosens. Sometimes fortune favours the brave.
Kimmich, past Hernandez, who just about got enough on it. Kimmich still going though, and in the end, France are forced to give away. No, they don't get a corner. Kimmich is absolutely adamant that that's a corner. I thought it was a corner as well.
Good reaction. Pete Hernandez there. Conte to the rescue. Gets a lucky rebound as Kimmich.
And then he has a quick look at Kimpembe, doesn't he? Well, that's a corner, surely. Conte was the last one to touch that. No wonder he was a bit upset. Well, in a game of could-be margins, set pieces are always important in international football. the thing that you can practice most in terms of scoring. So you want to get as many as you can. Gnabry's pass loose, looking for Muller. Oh, Pogba taken down by Kroos. Referee will blow because there's no advantage.
Good to see. A lot of respect between the two midfield generals. Yeah, going back to the Kimmich decision, I think generally, when it's certainly a Germany team, when they protest, it's generally for a good reason.
Yeah,
if you see
there's
what
an
I
awful
mean.
lot of simulation with Germany's players. Oh, that's lovely by Pogba. Finding Conte, gets a little ooh from the crowd for that one. Rabiot. Mbappe into Pogba. Pogba to Griezmann. Following the same path to goal that they managed to score against Wales. However, this time he's going backwards. Varane.
Always manages to raise his game for France, does Pogba. I know Manchester United fans find that he blows hot and cold, but for France, it's almost spot on. Every match scored in the World Cup final, of course, against Croatia.
Yes, Didier Deschamps really stands by him, regardless of how in form or not he is. Generally, he always has done, and Pogba has been talking about that in the last week, saying how much he appreciates Didier Drogba. He says that he sticks by me, but he doesn't let me off easily when he's talking to me. That's a lovely little tackle coming back there from Goossens. Germany have done well there to play themselves out of a little difficult corner. Kroos looks onto the far side, looking for Kimmich. Kimmich, can he keep it in? He does. Up against Hernandez again. Havertz makes the run, but he comes inside to Gundogan instead. Gundogan looking for Havertz, but you've got to do better than that with Rabiot tracking back. Griezmann, Rabiot now on the attack, waiting for Pavard to come and join him. Here is the Bayern Munich man. Back into Griezmann. A lot of speculation he might be heading back to Atletico Madrid, with him not being too happy at Barcelona.
That was a good counter by France. Good patience shown by Adrien Rabiot. Waited for the cavalry to come on the right channel, and then a perfectly weighted pass.
Into Benzema. Griezmann.
Griezmann too seems to have a roving brief.
Yeah, goals in his last 3 matches has Griezmann managed to pull out of the bag. He's very much in form.
Top scorer in the Euro 2016. 6 goals, including 2 against Germany in the semis.
Pavard. Into Griezmann. Griezmann lifts it over. Another typical little prompting pass from the little magician. Griezmann has built his career outside of French football, which is fairly rare. Most French players, they start in France and then get poached. Kimpembe, oh, that's loose. Oh, that's brilliant by N'Golo Kante. And there you see the value of the little man. He had no right to win that ball. But how many times have commentators said that over his career? Pogba.
Sublime.
Feeds it out to Hernandez. Lovely touch. Into Benzema. Good German shape, though, keeping them out. Mbappe, he's poached as well by Havertz. Gundogan forward. No space at all for anybody. That's just not going to be a foul? No, it's not going to be a foul. Germany have the ball back anyway, though. And it's in Muller's capable feet. Can't really say hands, can you?
Well, no, that would be handball. Yellow card.
Into the last quarter of an hour. Here's Hummels, whose goal separates the two sides, even though he won't be wanting to be reminded of that too often. Rudiger, there's nobody in that midfield area. You can see Rudiger pointing to the spot saying, where are you?
Well, Gundogan dropped back.
Goossens has come into the middle and it's been replaced on the outside there.
It's as if Gundogan and Goossens have switched positions temporarily.
Ginter, long ball, finds Goossens, who's gone back out to that flank again. To Gundogan, back to him. Tackled again by the excellent Varane before Havertz could get there. In it comes to Kroos, who's tackled by Griezmann. The front three doing their defensive legwork really well in this first half. Varane goes down and the pressure is relieved.
Well, that's strange. It's a foul. But that's a foul, and yet the challenge on Thomas Müller wasn't a foul.
Well, here it is. Well, that's a foul, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
clear
there isn't. How on earth is that not seen by the referee? In fact, that's a yellow card. That's not just a foul, that's a yellow card. It studs up.
Studs up, the boot was high, no doubt.
Strange.
Referee yet to convince me in this game, I'm afraid. It's not the first challenge that he hasn't seen.
Kimpembe. Nice, Griezmann. Into Mbappe now. This is the position he likes. One player to beat, and he's past him. Benzema coming to the near post, trying to find the right place to be. Couldn't quite manage it. There was always Ginter in the way. It was excellent defending.
Superb. Kylian Mbappe absolutely skinned that Hummels there. Hummels should learn from that. He committed to the challenge. He should have stood off.
Well, what do you do, though, against Kylian Mbappe? Because if you do stand up, he'll beat you in a foot race anyway. It's the absolute nightmare for a defender.
They're not double marking.
Yes.
That's the obvious answer.
Well, they've managed it until now, haven't they? And that was the one time he managed to get one-on-one. Griezmann, ball into the middle. Out by a combination of Hummels and Kimmich. And all the way back to... well, who's in goal again for France this game? Hugo Lloris has barely touched it. Puts his foot through that one. On by Benzema. That's surely offside against Griezmann, though. Huh.
You don't see that too often.
Comes up with another way to distribute.
That's one for the highlights reel.
Well, Manuel Neuer, evergreen. 35 years old now. He still feels like a youngster to me. I don't know why.
Very good press here by France. Both Rabiot and Benzema, or Mbappe.
Manuel Neuer, who made his links, or his start of his career at Schalke. He must be quite sad what's happened to them this season, being relegated to the second division of German football. It's been a long time, though, since he made his name with the Royal Blues.
So Benzema and Mbappe have changed positions.
As evidence the freedom that Didier Deschamps said he was going to give his front three to be able to improvise, find the space. Here's Goossens, looking to beat Pavard once more. Pavard gets a touch in, goes over from Gnabry, and it's wide by Gundogan. Little tackle there, little bit of in your face by Pogba, mate, just to put him off.
But better by Germany. Goossens half gets behind the defence. Good improvisation by Gnabry. And why not? You've got to try something. Yeah, Pogba did well, because he was holding back as well. He couldn't throw himself in completely for fear of creating a penalty, giving a penalty to Germany. The home fans trying to put Lloris off his kicks.
Nobody in the German squad has ever scored a goal at a European Championship finals, which is a remarkable statistic, I think. Even Thomas Müller, who's twice been the Golden Boot at the World Cup, has never scored at the European Championships. Shows you where they're coming from. It shows you the difficulties sometimes they've had at this rather than at the World Cup. We generally do get it right, though, at major championships. They've won this title, of course, as West Germany.
Mbappe apologises for his challenge.
Last time Germany won this title in 1996, when Oliver Bierhoff scored the golden goal winner. He's now the team manager, and has been for a few years. Kimmich, chased by Griezmann, back towards his own half.
It's terrific play, terrific press by Griezmann and his teammates.
Kroos, nice ball. Difficult one, though, for Kimmich to take, who's fouled, and then Hernandez, I think, covering up the fact that he fouled him, as pretending that he's being hit in the face. Look at that. You saw that little look at the referee.
It's embarrassing. Kimmich does well. Hernandez gets his body in the way.
Doesn't touch his face at all. Ooh.
There's the foul.
Well, Kimmich does catch him, to be fair. I'll take it back.
It's a loose boot.
However, he still had a look at the referee to see whether or not they'd noticed. And that's the bit that rather tells me that he's nowhere near as hurt as maybe he could be. Well, it was onto his ear.
No, it's not the full side of the face, is it?
It's the reaction that rather gives it away.
And that's the foul. That's the foul. So, by rights, that should be a free kick to Germany. Kimmich explains himself.
I think the referee is wrong here. I think the referee is wrong. That is wrong. I mean, it wasn't even a retaliation, he was just falling over. Anyway, Benzema into Mbappe, and that's good by Hummels. Much better that time up against the speedster that is Kylian Mbappe than the last time when he was skinned by him.
Sloppy pass by Manuel Neuer. It's got to be, with this French press, Germany's passing has to be spot on.
Conte into Rabiot. Gets the ball away before Thomas Muller arrives. Hernandez inside the last 5 minutes of the half.
He's been roundly booed by the German fans for that previous altercation with Kimmich.
Pogba, lovely ball in. Benzema won the turn, he couldn't quite take it in his stride. Oh, that was very unusual from Karim Benzema. So often he manages to take balls like that for Real Madrid and put them away. That time, though, he just needed that extra touch. And away come Germany with Gosens. Into Kroos. And Gundogan now has it. Havertz, we haven't seen the best of him so far in this first half. He's been a little bit isolated. Kimmich looking for him, and Rabiot is there once more. In comes Gundogan. Havertz with the attempted shot. Charged down, though, by Presnel Kimpembe.
Almost a commentator's curse there, Angus.
In reverse, yes. Havertz to Kimmich, nice ball in to Kroos. Kroos does shoot from there, but resists this time. Gnabry looking to shoot. Varane's there and does just enough to allow Griezmann to come and make the challenge. Out by Rabiot, and now Mbappe has it once again. Has just waited though, into Benzema. Mbappe wants it, just lingering slightly further back and gets it. Haven't quite seen the front three link up the way that perhaps we were hoping at the beginning of the game. Germany's defence, on the whole, has kept them out. And the goal actually coming from a different route with Hernandez on the left-hand side. Just to really annoy the German fans.
And the German players as well.
It's good strength by Pogba there to keep Kroos at bay and draw the foul. Last 2.5 minutes, Hernandez. Well, if France do win this game, then when he comes out for Bayern Munich next season will be interesting. Pavard.
Well, if it were the final, that might be the case.
Yes, could well be, you never know. That's a nice ball. Pogba's there on the run, up against Kroos, who's come back to mark him. Pogba doesn't quite know where the ball has gone. He's somehow found Griezmann. And it'll be a throw-in to the French.
That's right. Gosens trying to motivate the fans because they need the fans. Germany are under the cosh at the minute.
Yes, it's the French fans who are in full voice at the moment, though.
That's better. He's had a good first half as the full-back and wing-back.
Yes, so Robin Gosens, 26 years old. Left-back who can play left midfield as well. Started the move that led to Havertz setting his maiden international goal in the 7-1 romp against Latvia in the final warm-up. Pogba teaching the laws of the game, I think, to the assistant.
Or maybe just telling him he's wrong.
Yeah.
Or he thinks he's wrong. But he's offside.
He was offside.
So it's the correct decision.
Well, I think Pogba may be a little embarrassed when he sees that on a replay.
Well, it's just as well he didn't lose his cool,
Which
and
has
really
been
go
known in
at
the past.
the referee's assistant.
Rudiger back underway. There's quite a volatile atmosphere in here at the moment. Last 30 seconds of the first half. Goossens trying to get Germany back inside the last few seconds of the period. Trailing by 1-0. Mats Hummels' own goal. Long, stretching ball that, Kimmich would have done really well to keep in. He's angry with himself, but to be honest with you, that would have been a miracle pull down.
Well, he's a perfectionist.
What's going on here between Rudiger and Pogba? Oh, hello. A little bit of the Luis Suarez going on there, wasn't there?
Rudiger, as I said earlier, he's a tough cookie. Likes to get in the face of his markers. Well, the men he's marking, rather.
Luis Suarez, who infamously did a couple of bites, actually. One for Liverpool, one for Uruguay at the 2010 World Cup. And of course, with after-match analysis, that could come back to bite him.
Bum bum, quite literally.
Here's Kroos, inside, time added on at the end of the first half, forward by Ginter. Back to him from Kimmich, but loose, and Benzema is there. Benzema comes down, but there's no foul. The referee has tried to let the game run when he can. Not sure I agree with all of his decisions on fouls, or Gnabry there. I think he thought that Gunnar was meant to make the run, but at half-time, it's the world champions from 2018 who lead the 2014 winners by 1-0. The own goal by Mats Hummels from the cross by Luca Hernandez. France have had the better of the half, but Germany have certainly given their amount as well. But at the break, it's France 1, Germany 0.
Yeah, Germany started better. France gradually came back into the game, and they're playing better. Their passing's better. They find each other with more regularity than Germany. So Germany now, during half-time, Jogi Löw is to give one of the best team talks of his life. Other than that, expect to see changes on the hour, because it's not happening for Germany up front. They don't have the rhythm or intensity which the French are enjoying. Helped a little bit, I have to say, by the referee's performance.
Yeah, Oliver Bierhoff there was just on the right-hand side having a little word with him as they went off. But at half-time, with Germany now losing here, France winning, and of course Portugal having won earlier in the day, the Germans need to turn this around in the second half. But from the Allianz Arena at the moment, a lot of disgruntled home fans, a lot of happy Frenchmen. We'll see what happens when you come back to us for the second half. See you then.
For an exclusive fragrance experience, try Nivea Men Deep Impact Body Lotion with a long-lasting woody fragrance, deep moisture, and a fresh skin feel. Make an impact with Nivea Men Deep Impact. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Na wakati mwingine kupata si kwa ujuzi wala kwa werevu na wala kukosa si kwa uzembe. Mats Hummels, dakika 20, mchezaji aliyestaafu katika timu ya taifa ya Ujerumani na kuregeshwa katika kikosi hiki cha Euro, anafanya makosa na kujifunga goli lile lililowapatia Ufaransa ushindi wa goli 1-0 dhidi ya Ujerumani. Ushikwapo kweli shikamana, lakini hata hivyo ni mchezo ambao umekuwa na upinzani mkali, kila mmoja akionyesha ufundi wake, na tumeona jinsi ambavyo kila mmoja anataka ushindi katika mechi hii. Nikimkaribisha Ali Hassan Kauleni ambaye kwa sasa anaungana nasi katika kipindi hiki cha pili. Je, tathmini yako ya mchezo, wewe binafsi ulitegemea matokeo haya kwamba Ufaransa ingekuwa inaongoza kwa goli 1-0?
Sikutegemea, na kama nilivyokuwa nazungumza kocha wangu John, ilitarajia sare wakati wa mapumziko, lakini tunaona bao la tatu wakijifunga kwenye mashindano haya wachezaji lakini baada ya kufungwa lile bao Wajerumani wakaanza kusisimka. Wasiwasi wangu ni mmoja, Bahaji, hizi 45 za pili zisimalizike kama hawajafunga bao Wajerumani. Unakumbuka mwishoni mwezi Machi
ndio
wakifungwa papa hapa nyumbani na North Macedonia,
ndio
baada ya kipindi cha karibia miaka 30 na hili kundi tayari Ureno, Ronaldo amefanya mambo yake dhidi ya Hungary. Sasa kama watapoteza huu mchuano watakuwa wanajitia kitanzi Wajerumani.
Naam, coach John, na tumemwona Mfaransa anajaribu kutumia kasi yake katika kufanya mashambulizi. Mjerumani baada ya goli ameregea mchezoni, lakini hatuoni mashoti kwa kipa. Je, hili ndio tatizo lao katika mchezo huu?
Baadhi ni mechi ambao tulitarajia wote iwe mechi ngumu, mechi ambao kwa kweli tulitarajia ushambulizi wa hali ya juu haswa kutoka kwa hawa wa Faransa. Na mwalimu Hassan amesema vizuri sana. Iwapo Wajerumani hawataweza kuitafuta hili bao ambalo litakuwa la kuzawazisha, la muhimu zaidi kwao, itakuwa ni jambo ngumu. Lakini ukiangalia Wafaransa kwa kweli wanajua umuhimu wa hili mechi, wanajua umuhimu wake, sababu wanajua Ureno pale washachukua pointi 3, basi hii mechi atakayechukua pointi 3 itakuwa ni rahisi sana mechi ambazo zinakuja.
Were, nimeona katika safu ya ushambuliaji ya Ujerumani Gnabry kazima sana, Kai Havertz kapotea baada ya goli lile, anang'ang'ana Mula peke yake. Je, mkufunzi Jolo Kim anatakiwa afanye jambo hapo?
Kidogo wasicheze chini ya shinikizo. Maanake tumeona tabia nyingi hapo, utukutwa baadhi ya wachezaji wakijaribu kutoka mchezoni na kuanza mambo ambayo labda pengine ikawa ponza. Maanake kwa namna hali ilivyo ni kana kwamba tayari wamekubali kupata ile pressure. Inatakana wafanye utulivu na wacheze mchezo wao. Maanake ukiangalia vizuri upande wa pili Wafaransa kusema la kweli wanaenjoy. Kwa kimombo, kwa lugha mtatu nasema wanajibamba. Wanapiga pasi zenye uhakika, mikimbio yenye haja, Pogba katikati anapiga mipira mirefu, Mbappe milonja yake mirefu anatumia vizuri kwa ajili ya kukimbia na kupata mipira na kuchonga kutokea pembeni, ndio inawarahisishia kazi. Kwa hiyo hawa kidogo nikana kwamba mpotea, na kupotea kwao ni katika idara ya kati. Hapo ndo mahali kidogo nikana kwamba mtu ametolewa nyonga hapo hivyo.
Kuna free kick wanapata Ufaransa, Ujerumani wamepata 2, Toni Kroos kapoteza. Je, unaona iwapo Ufaransa wataendelea kufanya makosa yale katika maeneo ya hatari, huenda Toni Kroos, manake tunajua kazi yake na anawatumia sana zile kupata magoli.
Kwa hakika na ni gumzo kubwa sana ukiangalia haswa kipindi cha kwanza, Bahaji, ile ukilizungumzia. Kwa sababu gani? Unamwona Toni Kroos wakati Real Madrid na tamba ni akicheza vizuri, hata wakati wanacheza klabu bingwa akanyamazishwa na Ngolo. Vivyo hivyo Ngolo katika kile kiungo cha kati anamnyamazisha na inampa nafasi Pogba kutamba na kuweka ile mipira. Kwa hiyo naweza nikasema kwamba kama Toni Kroos atacheza vizuri kiungo kile cha kati, Wajerumani watarudi mchezoni au Maduchaland. Lakini jinsi ilivyo, Pogba anawazidia sana. Na nafikiri kuna kitu nimegundua katika hii video. Nakumbuka kabla hajakwenda mapumzikoni, wao Wajerumani wakijaribu juu chini kupiga ile mipira mbali, wanaiga anavyofanya Pogba, anazalisha akiweka ile mipira. Uliona kitu Rudiger alikuwa anamfanyia kumchokoza, lakini hakuretaliate. Bado nasema kwamba Ufaransa kwa namna walivyocheza kipindi cha kwanza wanastahili kuwa juu bao hilo moja.
Coach Kimmich, mchezaji muhimu, kiungo ambaye unaona anasukuma wenzake, yupo ndani ya mchezo na morali kweli kweli, kadi amepata dakika za kwanza mbichi sana, na tumeona tukio lingine pale ni kama Ufaransa walikuwa wanamchezea hila, wamtafute kadi ya njano.
Bahati kweli, ukiangalia Kimmich lazima awe mwangalifu sana, sababu ukiangalia mechi kama hii, iwapo anaweza pata nyekundu, basi itakuwa amefanya kikosi chake kikaumia sana, sababu tayari hawa Wafaransa wakimbiza hawa Ujerumani wako juu kimchezo. Iwapo basi watolewe mtu mmoja, basi itakuwa ni kifo zaidi, kumaanisha lazima ajiangalie sana, awe mwangalifu sana jinsi anavyofanya mambo yake, sababu ukiangalia ile hata kadi yenyewe ni ile tu ya kujitafutia. Iwapo atazidi kujitafutia hivi, basi itakuwa ni balaa kubwa kwa kikosi chake.
Naam, Were, tunaposonga mbele sasa hivi katika kipindi hiki cha lala mkono wa buriani, Mjerumani anatakiwa arekebishe vitu gani ndio anogeshe zaidi angalau apate upenyo?
Kidogo mikimbio kutoka pembeni ni muhimu sana, maana wamebanwa katikati, kutegemea na aina wachezaji ambao wamejenga ukuta katika safu ya ulinzi kwa faida ya Ufaransa, na itabidi pia vile vile wapate mchezaji tuweze kushuhudia ubora wa mchezaji mmoja mmoja kwa ajili ya kupata mafanikio katika mchuano huu. Maana wakati mwingine mpira mechi inapo bana zaidi, ni vizuri kupata mchezaji ambaye tunamuita kiungo mchezeshaji, ambaye anaweza chukua mpira atulie nao na kujaribu kukokota kwa ajili ya kutengenezea wenzake nafasi, angalau kurahisisha kazi kwa ajili ya bao kupatikana.
Kauleni yuko mzee wa sarakasi Rudiger. Mambo yake mimi nafuatilia tangu ligi ya ukuu ya Uingereza na alivyomfanya Kevin De Bruyne kuvuruga ile finali. Tumemuona alivyokuwa anataka kumuuma Pogba mgongo. Ule ni tabia gani zile, mchezo gani?
Na nikimuona nakumbuka mechi iliyotangulia Ureno na Hungary alipokuwa anacheza, nafikiri Danilo alikuwa anajitabia kama hivi. Na Rudiger hajaanza leo, ukimfuatilia ana mambo yanatokea kisirisiri. Na sijui, wajua katika kila timu kocha atakwambia kuna wachezaji utumwa kufanya mambo kama haya. Hakikisha mtu fulani hachezi, hakikisha mtu fulani hatambi. Uliona dhidi ya KDB, na KDB alipotoka mchezoni Man City haikuwa Man City tena. Leo ameona Pogba ndiye anasambaza ile mipira kumtafuta Mbappe, kama ambavyo Neymar alikuwa anamfanyia Mbappe pale PSG, anamzalishia. Sasa huyu Rudiger anajua nikimchokoza Pogba atafanya, atanipiga kile kiwiko, atakula kadi. Lakini huyu ni Pogba anaonekana amekomaa, sio ule Pogba Juventus wa miaka ya nyuma, ama wakati wa kina Balotelli zama hizo, angerejesha labda mpige konde, ale kadi nyekundu, angeiponza timu. Na nafikiri kama zile video zinafanya kazi vizuri VAR, nafikiri zingezungumza na mwamuzi. Ulikuwa utundu wa hali ya juu sana ule.
Ndio hapo namuona Pogba amepanda mori kweli kweli na hasira zile, akisema Rudiger alistahili kupewa kadi. Coaches, tunakwenda katika kipindi cha pili. Lipo jembe linafahamika kama timu Vana, ambalo halifungi magoli lakini huwa lina mchango muhimu sana, hasa kuisaidia Chelsea, klabu bingwa barani Ulaya. Je, Mjerumani kama coach, wewe uko pale Lokim, ungechukua hatua gani katika subs?
Haswa ningemleta timu Vana, sababu ukiangalia Havertz kwa kiasi kikubwa, Gnabry pale, Thomas Muller hawajaweza kuwa na kipindi kizuri sana dakika 45, kumaanisha anahitaji nguvu nyingine pale mbele ili aweze kupata ile bao muhimu zaidi kwa katika mechi hii. Kwa hivyo mimi ningemleta haswa huyu timu Vana, alafu labda animtoe Thomas Muller ama Gnabry, sababu hawajaweza kukua wazuri zaidi.
Leroy Sané, mchezaji yule ambaye sasa hivi anapiga Bayern Munich kutoka Manchester City, ni mmoja wa wachezaji ambao wana kasi. Je, unaona kuna nafasi yote kwake katika mechi?
Inategemea na maamuzi ya mwalimu, kutegemea na jinsi anavyoelewa wachezaji wake kisaikolojia, unajua ni muhimu, na pia vile utimamu wa mwili. Kwa hiyo pia mbinu za mchezo, kutegemea na aina ya wachezaji ama wapinzani ambao wapo uwanjani kwa ajili ya kutafuta ubingwa. Sio mechi rahisi na sio vizuri kule kukurupuka kwa ajili ya kufanya mabadiliko haraka. Labda pengine usobe mchezo, na baada ya muda kwa ajili ya wao kupata mwelekeo, tutaweza kushuhudia the German machine, mitambo ikifanya kazi uwanjani.
Mpira burudani, tunaona Ali Hassan Kauleni, mashambulizi baada ya mashambulizi, end to end wanasema. Na je, Ufaransa unamwonaje anakwenda kumaliza mchezo huu katika kipindi cha pili?
Manake wajua hili kundi tumelizungumza sana, group of death. Wakati unafanya utangulizi wako umelizungumzia hili Bahaji. Na ukiona awali Ronaldo si kwamba tu alifunga magoli mawili, sasa hivi anaongoza zile chat za wafungaji mabao katika mechi hizi za Euro, kisha Platini anafuata na mabao 9. Sasa hili kundi hawa wawili kama wanaweza wakaenda sare ni nafuu kubwa, manake tunajua kuna wale best losers ambao wanaweza wakapenya. Na kama Ufaransa itashinda huo mchezo inavyoelekea, itakuwa inajisukuma katika hali nzuri sana, manake unatarajia kila timu katika kundi hili impige Hungary. Kwa hiyo kama Ufaransa itapata ushindi katika kundi hili, litakuwa pigo sana kwa Ujerumani. Itakuwa inaanza kupiga hisabati za itakavyocheza Jumamosi dhidi ya Ureno, na hali haitakuwa nzuri. Na usisahau wanacheza nyumbani. Lakini sema kitu kimoja, wakati mnafanya utangulizi Michael Were Mukusi akasema kwamba yeye ni bon appetit kwa maana wa Faransa. Ngolo Kante sikujua ni nduguye mdogo. Were aliposhangilia ile bao ndio nikajua ni mtu na nduguye
kabisa, manake
na Wafaransa
kwamba huu unatoka magharibi Afrika kule. Lakini Ngolo Kante ni kutoka huko
Wabantu wametokea kule.
Bwana we. Na tukwame hapa kwa Ngolo Kante. Coach, tumemuona ni mchezaji hata nafasi chache anazopoteza mpira kashakimbia na kuchukua. Ana umuhimu gani mchango wake katika timu ya Ufaransa?
Baadhi ukiwa na mchezaji kama Ngolo Kante ukiwa kocha, basi una furaha tele, sababu huu ni mchezaji kwanza hachoki, yuko kila mahali mpira upo yeye yupo hapo. Angalia zile tackling zake ama ile winning ball yake, anachukua mpira virahisi sana, na pia kusambaza kwake ama kupiga zile pasi anapiga very accurate pass. Kumaanisha huu ni mchezaji ambaye kwa kweli anategemewa sana na hiki kikosi. Na kocha kuwa na mchezaji kama huyu unatulia. Na tunaona pia Paul Pogba, watu wanasema je, huyu ni yule Pogba wa Man United
ama akabatizwa tena upya? Huyu ni mnyama mwingine na tunamwona anacheza vizuri sana.
Pogba mzuri sana anapopiga kwa faida ya nchi yake. Tumemwona katika dimba la dunia, tumemwona pia vile vile akicheza na wenzake, na alikuwa na mchango mkubwa sana. Ni kiongozi huyu, hususan kwenye dressing room. Unakumbuka dimba la dunia alikuwa anakutana mchezaji mmoja mmoja na kumkumbatia, kusemezana naye katika harakati za kwenda vitani. Manake unajua bado kuna vita baridi, walitoka vita vya wenyewe kwa wenyewe, kwa maana vita vya makombora, na sasa ni vita vya mifumo mbalimbali kama michezo na taasisi. Kwa hiyo Pogba mchango wake ni mkubwa na ni mzuri sana kwa kupiga long balls kwa ajili ya kurahisisha mambo, na ndio sababu itabidi pia waangalie katika harakati za kumkaba.
Na ndio hivyo tena, wachezaji wale wanarejea taratibu aste katika hii ni mechi ya mwisho katika raundi ya kwanza ya dimba la makundi. Ni kundi lile la F, kundi la mauaji lile, kundi la kifo na la hatari, na timu mbili ndio zina nafasi na mbili zitaporomoka, lakini kuna ile nafasi ya best loser, hatujui nani atakayechukua. Kwa hivyo twende tukaangalie. Wanasema siku zote bwana, asena bahati habahatishi, lakini hata hiyo bahati wakati mwingine humwangukia yule atakayekuwa na ujasiri. Kipindi cha pili turegee Alliance Arena moja kwa moja kati ya Ufaransa dhidi ya Ujerumani. Tukutane baada ya dakika 90.
Well, welcome back to the Alliance Arena, where France are coming back out onto the pitch. There's still lively debate between both sets of players and the referee after that first half. Hansi Flick is in the crowd. We saw him looking very happy, of course, the man who won another Bundesliga title with Bayern Munich, the man who led them to the treble less than 12 months ago after the COVID shortened and then lengthened season last time out. And of course he's the man who will take over from Jogi Löw after this European Championships. Incidentally, Germany have never lost the opening match in the group stage of a European finals. At the moment they're at half-time. That is exactly what they're on for. After a first half, Tony, where France threatened quite a lot, but neither side has really broken out.
Yes, it's been a fairly even game. France have had the better chances, but you're right, we haven't been spoilt for chances. We just saw Gundogan, who had the best Germany chance. I actually think Gundogan needs to get a grip. Germany depend on him a lot. Some of his passes have been off target, they've gone astray. And Germany, that's the aspect of the game they really need to improve.
Well, the likes of Gundogan and the other Chelsea players on display tonight, of course, didn't play in the warm-up matches before the European Championships, but with all of them involved late on in the Champions League at the end of a very tiring schedule for their clubs. So we usually find this in European Championships, but particularly so at the end of this COVID, division championships around Europe, where the big teams have been pretty much every week playing Saturday or Sunday and then Tuesday or Wednesday and then starting all over again.
It's been exhausting, but the number 13 there, N'Golo Kanté, doesn't seem to have affected him any. He's almost battery operated given his energy levels.
Here's Presnel Kimpembe. Red card towards the end of the season. Very much though a number one pick for France. Has its critics though for Paris Saint-Germain. Back to Lloris. Straight to Gundogan. Gundogan into Havertz. Havertz on the turn. Into Müller. Müller looks forward, trying to find Gnabry. Kimpembe is there though to make the interception. Forward by Hernandez. Into Rabiot. Good first half from the Juventus man. Picks out Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe now on the run once more against Hummels. Tries to go past him. Kylian Mbappe still going. Oh, brilliant by Hummels. Mbappe still has it. Still trying to beat the veteran German defender. And in the end, that's magnificently done because Mbappe's forced to give it to Rabiot. Pogba. Back into Mbappe, who's given it straight to Havertz. Havertz was rather deep.
It's out of character for Mbappe. He's normally a very tidy, precise player.
Looks as though Hummels learned from that opening half against him. Of course, he's a man who doesn't quite have the speed he used to have, although he never had that much speed.
I'd like to see that incident again. The duel between Mbappe and Hummels.
Yes, it was quality from start to finish. There's a lot of high-quality play on display, even though we haven't seen very much of it inside the penalty area so far. Just really the shot by Mbappe that was saved by Neuer, and then Gundogan here, who had a chance on the volley, which was a sharp chance that he put wide under pressure from Pogba. Hugo Lloris has been pretty much unbothered by anybody in a white shirt. Griezmann running through on Neuer. Lovely touch once again from the German goalkeeper.
Yeah, once again, we praise Conte for his runs, mileage covered. Griezmann as well can't be too far behind. So much eager running. They're chasing down a hopeless cause, really. Just putting pressure on Neuer.
Here comes Ginter, looking for Gnabry, but he couldn't collect, and it comes through to Hugo Lloris, the France captain. Both captains are the goalkeepers in this one. Both of them over 100 caps for their countries now. Manuel Neuer, though, what he's won far outshines anything Hugo Lloris has done in his career in terms of his club. Both of them, of course, are World Cup winners. Benzema, not involved, of course, in that World Cup win in Russia 3 years ago. Has played, though, at 2 European Championships before, in 2008 and 2012.
Look at that. Even when Conte makes a half challenge, he had no right to go for that. Borderline foul, but still he does enough to put off Gnabry.
No changes of staff on the pitch at half-time from either side. So it's the same 11s that started. France with Hernandez, Kimpembe, Varane and Pavard at the back. Pogba, Conte and Rabiot midfield with Benzema, Griezmann and Mbappe up front. A scary 11 if ever there was one. Here, though, comes Germany. That's in by Muller. Kimpembe finds Rabiot. And Rabiot, as calm as ever, feeds it out, but Hummels has ambushed Benzema, and then Rabiot, the man who gave the pass, came and undid the damage. Lovely stuff. And then he's given the ball away again.
Now that was the commentator's curse. Showed too much of it. Inter accepted the gift.
You're watching the last of the first round of group matches from Euro 2020. With me, Angus Strode, and Tony Jeffers alongside me. France leading by 1-0, 5 minutes into the second half, and Mbappe has been caught offside. Tight.
I'm not sure about that.
Very tight. Well, we do have VAR, but it's not going to be employed for something like that. Gnabry finds Muller. Muller into Gundogan. Gundogan again looks goal side and finds Kimmich out on the right-hand side. Ginter comes forward, and a little lofted ball into the box is dealt with by Varane. Pogba juggles and loses the ball. Hummels, who's having an excellent start to the second 45 minutes. Took him a little while of the first half to get up to speed. Seems to be there now. Here's Pogba, taken down by Havertz.
Yeah, Hummels would have been rocked by conceding the own goal. He's done well. Come back into the game.
Yeah, Pogba has done exceptionally well as well. There is Hansi Flick. We were talking about him earlier, the man who will take over from Jogi Löw.
Just behind him, Miroslav Klose, German goal-scoring machine.
Here's Rabiot. Not really a goal-scoring machine. However, Mbappe is, and that's a lovely ball through to the midfield again. Rabiot with a chance, and it's off the post. Well, the Germans were streaming back when they realised the danger. Usually this would be the other way around. Rabiot through to Mbappe. But this time it was the forward through to the midfielder. Griezmann wanted it, but he couldn't get there.
Griezmann is furious, Angus. Perfect position. Yes, he's playing playmaker. But as you say, the front three all seem to have roving briefs. That's short.
I don't know about you, but Rabiot seems to have a fairly roaming brief as well. He's having an excellent game, but that wasn't a very good finish. It was almost like he was scared to take the shot. He couldn't believe that he was so far forward and there was nobody there.
Space just opened up for him. He had every right to go for it.
Lovely ball by Mbappe. Mbappe, who sets up many goals as well for Paris Saint-Germain. Doesn't just score them. The man who was the top scorer again this season for the capital side in France, but they didn't win the title. That went to Lille instead. First time they've won it in 10 years. Lille have some representatives in the French side. Well, the only one is actually Mike Maignan, the goalkeeper, who had an excellent season for Lille. One of the main reasons why they denied Paris Saint-Germain the title. However, Hugo Lloris is very much the number one for the national side. Pogba looking for Benzema, but again, Hummels reading the space really well and closing it down. Forward by Kroos. Havertz, a loose touch. It's not quite in the game yet. Is the Chelsea man. Here's the man he beat in the Champions League final. Gundogan. Good ball into the middle. Gnabry with a chance. Oh, he hit it straight into the turf and it bounced over the bar. And Gnabry, who had another fine season for Bayern Munich, unable to bring his national side into things here.
Well, that's a great chance for Germany. Terrific ball in. Gnabry tracking it. And as you quite rightly say, hits it into the ground instead of on the full. Kimpembe was well placed. But in a game of very few chances, that was a golden one.
Well, he's been having such a good start to his career for Germany. 21 matches played, 16 goals scored. But unfortunately for him, he was unable to make it 17. Here comes Kimmich, though. Brighter stuff, this, from Germany. There is Gnabry. Down goes Müller. Free kick to Germany.
Going to watch himself here, Conte. Not the first wayward challenge he's made. I think because he always plays with a smile on his face, referees rarely book the man.
Toni Kroos then has not had his best night with the set pieces so far. Can he deliver something better? That was better, but it was well dealt with by Hernandez, and out comes the extremely capable Hugo Lloris to claim it in the air.
Yeah, you can see his defenders enjoyed that. Getting pats on the head. It was decisive. Good communication by Lloris.
Another good tackle. Varane, though, comes across to cover. Pogba plays that nastily into Pavard, who won't thank him too much for that, and France have lost the ball again. Kai Havertz. Kimmich showing strength, but he's then bullied off the ball by Benzema. Benzema immediately sees Mbappe and he's off. Ginter sees who's in the middle. And Hummels comes across again to deny Kylian Mbappe.
Good defensive cover by Hummels. You're right, he's raised his game, but what a pass by Karim Benzema. It was perfect because Germany defenders outnumbered Benzema and Mbappe, but it was perfectly played into space, stretching that defence.
Here comes Müller, though, trying to stretch the French defence. Kimmich into Havertz, into Müller. Could be a chance here for Germany. Varane, brilliant. And Presnel Kimpembe as well, stopping Havertz getting through. Hernandez races on, backed up by Ginter. And now Kimmich has it. My goodness me, the whole pace of the game has suddenly got so much quicker. That will slow it down a bit.
Yeah, it's as if Germany aren't paying France the respect they were in the first half. It's a good French team on paper, but they're not perfect. And I think there are defensive weaknesses in this French side. We saw Kimpembe give the ball away cheaply in the first half. Hernandez, once he was challenged down the flank, he too gave up possession, as we see the golden opportunity for Serge Gnabry again. And here's the golden opportunity for France. I think it was worth an effort.
Manuel Neuer would have been embarrassed had that gone in at his near post. He was all set to jump across to the far post. Rudiger stands on the ball and waits for support. Gundogan, that's not quite where Hummels wanted it. A little bit of extra running that he wouldn't really need. Not a bad temperature here though tonight. 21 degrees is not bad compared to what we've seen during the day, particularly at Wembley yesterday, where it was well over 30 degrees. Unusually. Often the UK is amongst the hottest places in Europe. That's nice. Muller, Rabiot there, drops back into defence again and makes the telling challenge.
It's been a pattern, Angus. Germany having a lot of possession just inside the France's half.
Here's Havertz. He's got Kimmich outside him. Hernandez comes to cover, but it goes past him over the top of Lloris. And it's hit his own man. Extraordinary. Goossens there actually clearing off the wrong line.
But I think play had stopped already. The referee sees there's a French player down. Can't quite see the contact.
It's Pavard there who was hit by Goossens, and then Goossens is hit by Kroos, isn't it, the shot?
Great ball end up.
Lloris is nowhere for this. Oof.
You're absolutely right. It's the backside of Goossens, which smacks Pavard,
who's been knocked clean out. Well, we don't need to have something like this again. The good news is at least that Christian Eriksen, who suffered a heart attack on the pitch the other night for Denmark against Finland, is on the mend. But obviously his Euros is finished.
Didier Deschamps, France's coach, looking very concerned there.
Jogi Löw unmoved at the moment. Goossens, who has burst onto the international scene of late. But Pavard, such an important figure ever since he scored that wonder goal against Argentina in the World Cup. He's won his second Bundesliga title this season with Bayern Munich, as indeed Hernandez did as well. The DFB Pokal as well, and of course they won the Champions League last season. The season before last, I suppose you have to say now. And as well as the Club World Cup as well. And thankfully, he's back on his feet. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go off. Can't believe they're going to let him play on, because he looked out cold.
Indeed. Well, these days in rugby, for example, a player has to go off for 10 minutes just while he has a check. I wouldn't be surprised if he's replaced here, substituted. I'm just looking at the bench for France. You've got Thomas Lemar, also Everton's Lucas Digne.
Well, you can see here that we don't really need to see that too many times, I don't think. But he's surely got to go on, and this is where the HIA in rugby is such a good...
The head injury assessment.
Exactly, the head injury assessment whilst they decide. And you're allowed to replace the man on the pitch whilst that happens as well, with a temporary substitute. But in football, hasn't quite caught up.
Well, the good news, Angus, is that Pavard is ready and waiting to come back onto the pitch.
Well, yeah, but I mean, is he ready? I mean, I'm not sure about that. He was knocked out, for heaven's sake. I mean, the way his head hit the ground there, face first, he clearly was not conscious.
It's a good point you make. Any footballer worth their salt wants to get back onto the pitch.
And there he comes. Red nose and everything. Hernandez trying to stop Havertz getting there, and does. As the German substitutes warm up on the near side touchline.
He's being put under pressure here, Hernandez. That's the second moment, second similar chance Germany have had, exposing him.
Joshua Kimmich, then with the corner kick, out by Griezmann's head.
It's a good period for Germany.
Yes, they are taking more control of possession, but in a more dynamic way than they had in the first half. Here's Gnabry, still haven't really seen the best of him yet. That volley that bounced straight into the floor and over the bar, his best contribution so far. That is into Conte by Ginter, and France will try to break. Can't afford to give the ball away too much like that. We saw that with Scotland when they took a shot, it rebounded to Schick, and then he scored from 45 metres away from goal in what will probably be the goal of the tournament. We're going to have something pretty special to beat that winner by the Czech Republic player.
Well, if you haven't seen it, get onto certain platforms. UEFA's platform, for example, just to check it out. It is a sensational goal. And you're right, I agree with you, Angus. It would take a fine goal indeed to better it. I think it could well be the best goal ever in a European Championship.
Yeah, I must admit, you'd have to go some for me to beat the volley by Van Basten in the 1988 final. But yes, certainly, it's certainly up there. There's no doubt about that. Remember Xherdan Shaqiri's overhead kick as well, which was pretty special for Switzerland. That's come into the middle, and it's away by Varane. Corner kick to Germany.
That's right. Varane trying to motivate his defence because he knows they're under the cosh, and that Havertz-Kimmich combination is causing France problems.
Kimmich once more then. What did he do? It's to the far post this time. It's over everybody. And cleared once more. Neuer into the opposing half. The Germans now getting a little bit more frank. Look how deep the French have suddenly become, though, inside their own half, inviting the Germans to come forward. Goossens, though, runs away from Pogba. Rudiger into Gnabry. Thomas Müller, the furthest man forward for Germany at the moment. Havertz. For me, Havertz is not far enough forward. That's nice. Now Goossens taking on Varane, cuts it back in again. It squirts off the back of the leg of Pavard, very fortunately into the arms of Hugo Lloris.
But the only player over on the right-hand side of the penalty area for Germany was Kimmich. I think Gnabry's got to get more into the heart of that penalty area. That's one problem with playing the false nine. Some people were expecting Gnabry to start on the wing today.
Here is Rabiot into Varane. France getting their possession back for the first time, what feels a while. Conte now beginning to become more influential as the game comes on. Here he is once again.
Well, he just does the simple things really well.
Yes, he's a nuts and bolts midfielder, but I mean that in a good way. Little short passes and then supports as well. That's lovely from him. Pogba into Griezmann. Griezmann now thinking about the shot, but spreads it wide instead. Benzema steps back in, looking for the shot. It comes off of Hummels, who's again in the right place. Goossen picks it up on the far side. 25 minutes to go. Germany still losing their opening game of a European Championships. It will be the first time that they have lost their opener if this is the way it stays. Neuer out. Straight back again. Rabiot up against Kimmich, does well. And so too, though, does Gundogan to step in front of Mbappe.
It's well done by Kimpembe. It's what he does best.
Back he comes to Pogba, though. Pogba looking on the far side. Here's Mbappe. It's Kimmich who's come up against him. Mbappe trying to take him on. Weaving him up. Oh! Fantastic goal from Kylian Mbappe! But they've gone straight upstairs because the offside flag has come up.
Wonderfully worked. Oh, that looks clear as daylight offside. Two of them, Mbappe and Griezmann. Once again, it's confusing because, as we said earlier, the officials let the action run to its full course, so no goal. And that's the right decision.
What a shame. For France, that is, anyway, and for maybe the game in general. That would have been a spectacular goal for Kylian Mbappe, and very much his MO as well. Tying up defenders in knots and then finding a far corner. Gundogan. Germany now trying to come forward. Müller finds himself out on the left flank and he's muscled off the ball by Pogba. Little back heel through to Griezmann, and now Varane. France trying to emulate the sides of 1984 and 2000. The third great generation, you'd have to say here, I think, of French players in terms of tournament football. Of course, if you go back far enough, you get the likes of Raymond Kopa and Jules Fontaine, who were more successful for their club sides than perhaps for the national side. France didn't win the championship that they invented until 1984, when Michel Platini scored 9 goals, leading them to victory.
And that was from midfield.
Nobody has come anywhere near to that.
But Cristiano Ronaldo today, he did break Platini's record, not for goals in a single tournament, but for combined goals in the European Championships.
Yes, the man who's appeared in 5 championships as well, that's also a record. Hasn't always brought it to the party, Cristiano Ronaldo, at the European Championships, which perhaps explains his joy being so acute when they won the title against France 5 years ago. Gundogan. On to Kimmich. Double teamed by Mbappe and Hernandez. Hummels into Kroos, who's chased by Griezmann. Again, they're pressing up, pushing out, but they're still a little bit deep, though, France. Here's Rudiger.
Well, they fancy their chances on a counter-attack, Angus.
Yes, we've seen it. It's been a definite ploy. Havertz off the back of Rabiot. That's fine, Gnabry in the end, though. Now to Kimmich. Havertz wants it in the middle. And it's Kimpembe who came back to make the challenge and put it behind as Leroy Sané is about to make his entrance. Another Bayern Munich man. And a former Manchester City man as well. Kimmich, though, first with the corner. It's to the back post again. Rudiger heads it. And it's well claimed again by Hugo Lloris under the attention of Thomas Müller. Long ball forward, looking for Mbappe. Well, that really was the counter-attack par excellence, and it didn't quite work. Kimmich. Kroos forward, finds Havertz, who's come out to the wing. Gundogan, rather cut off there by the referee, so comes back again to the right. Havertz can't find it under his feet, and as a result Hernandez was able to come across and make the challenge, and it's another corner to the Mannschaft. Timo Werner also gets ready to make his entrance. Some attacking substitutions coming up here from Jogi Löw.
20 minutes left, Angus. 1-0 down. They've got to do something.
Another corner kick. Toni Kroos will take this one, though. Ball in, out though by Griezmann, not for the first time in this second half, with his head.
He's having a really good game, but most of it in defence or defensive midfield. Question now for Germany, Angus, is who do they replace? I think Gnabry has been disappointing.
Yes, I think they probably see that Gnabry will come off and Werner will come on and directly replace him. Might see him a little bit further forward as well. Here is Kimpembe getting across Havertz.
Havertz has come into the game a lot in the past 10-15 minutes. I wouldn't replace him.
I wonder whether they might take a midfielder off and then put Kimmich into midfield. Sané out on the wing. That's all to come, though. Pavard picks it up. I really hope he's okay after being knocked out by Goossens.
Hasn't been involved directly since the concussion.
Conte decides there's nowhere to go. Referee is blown because there's a problem at the back for Ginter, who's holding on to his thigh.
Yep.
And Mbappe's holding on to his head.
Possibly an off-the-ball clash, and that might change Jogi Löw's substitutions.
There's Kupka there with a little chat to Jogi Löw, the goalkeeping coach, and who was in goal when they won Euro 96.
Clutching his thigh, but he also looks winded.
He's had a good game, Ginter. Indeed, all of the back three, Ginter, Hummels, Rudiger, they've all looked very competent. Well, Emre Can And you might be right, it is changing perhaps their views.
Well, he looked down and out, so I thought so. Delayed reaction, though.
Actually, a foul by Ginter, that really, wasn't it?
Delayed reaction. He was the culprit.
He was, and he hurt himself doing it.
He's come off worse than Mbappe.
3 substitutions then. Leroy Sané on the left, Emre Can in the middle, well he was, and Timo Werner on the right with Ginter waiting to come back on again.
Yeah, Can has just been sent back. And that's frustrating for him.
Yeah. Maybe that's because Ginter has said he's okay. So it is Serge Gnabry who's going to come off and indeed be replaced by Timo Werner. Gnabry just with that one shot that bounced over the bar.
He's had an honest game, Gnabry. Hasn't been effective. Just that one, what will prove to be a golden chance, for which I think he should have done a lot better. Well, it's Havertz. I'm surprised by that.
Well, it's not been his most influential game, I suppose, Kai Havertz. He didn't really seem to know where he was playing, I felt, for a lot of the game. He didn't quite find the angles, I don't think, that were needed. With Leroy Sané on, a little bit more speed.
Yeah, and a lot more direct as well. Sané will run at defenders. And that's no bad tactic for the final 20, especially against Pavard, who was concussed 10 minutes ago. Be a real test of how much he's recovered.
Müller forward. First touch for Timo Werner. He's up against Varane. There's nobody in the middle. Did well to actually get it round the back of the Real Madrid defender, but
if there was nobody in the box,
no.
Why play it? Surely you should be holding play up then, waiting for support. We saw Adrien Rabiot do that supremely well in the first half. Werner's had a very hit-and-miss season. Yes, he's won the Champions League at Chelsea, but he's been spluttering up front. He's been toothless in attack. The European Championship would be the perfect opportunity to correct that.
here's Kroos. Just over 15 minutes to go here at the Allianz Arena in Munich, where the host Germany are trailing by 1-0. Own goal by Mats Hummels in the first half.
The French press is clever. It's not necessarily two players man marking the man on the ball. It's just cutting off the supply lines.
Sané gets his first touch, feeds it back to Rudiger. Here's Kroos. Comes through Benzema, and lovely ball out to find Joshua Kimmich.
But on the back foot straight away because of the press.
Hummels. Kroos thought that was for him and looked absolutely devastated that it wasn't. Gundogan turns and then is run straight into Pogba. Gets the throw though.
Just stretches out those long levers of his. Very frustrating for his opponents. Just when you think you're in a safety zone away from Pogba, he just possesses you.
3-time winners of this title, Germany. Nice turn by Kimmich, trying to turn Hernandez and does well, but Hugo Lloris tracked that all the way into his gloves.
Yeah, it's been pretty solid in the air. There's confirmation of these substitutions.
It's gone all the way through to Neuer. Yeah, Germany first won this title back in 1972. They were West Germany back then. They then won it 8 years later in 1980. Before at the end of the 80s, they unified and became Germany as one, and it then took them another 6 years to win it as a unified nation in 96, thanks to the golden goal by Oliver Bierhoff. Back in the days when the golden goal literally ended the match, right there and then. Didn't really catch on in the end. They tried a silver goal as well, which also didn't last very long. Now we're back to the usual extra time and penalties in the knockout rounds. Here's Ginter. Turns and gets past Mbappe. in by Kroos. Varane is there, straight to Pogba, lovely defending. So in control. Mbappe into Benzema, and Benzema knows how fast Mbappe is, and he's got past Hummels again and brought him down, and the referee says he got the ball.
And he did. Superb tackle by Hummels. Slight hesitation by Mbappe.
Slight hesitation by me as well, because I thought initially that maybe it was a penalty, but they'll be looking at it in VAR, so we'll soon find out whether or not they agree or not. But if it is a tackle, then that is a magnificent piece of backtracking and retrieval, because he was absolutely dead for rights there.
Well, it was a risky tackle, make no mistake, but desperate situations need desperate measures.
Pavar's run into a German cul-de-sac.
His initial challenge was slightly borderline, Hummels. We will see it again. But he more than made amends for the own goal with that interception.
Well, if that is a good tackle, then we saw the goal of the tournament. We might just have seen the tackle of the tournament already. Either that, or we've seen the worst decision of the tournament so far.
But the speed and pace of Kylian Mbappe, it's frightening.
Yeah, well, they've been trying to isolate him one-on-one with Hummels, and Hummels is having to use all of his nous to stay there with Mbappe, get himself in the right positions, because there's no way he can keep up with him.
But as you say, Hummels these days, no spring chicken.
Here's Kimmich. Good tackle by Conte, but it's come through to Werner. Picked up by Benzema. And Pogba. Pogba again looks to set Mbappe down, and again Hummels crabs across to see him. Mbappe once more, Griezmann calling for it in the middle. Benzema is there, the Holy Trinity inside the penalty area, and Hummels is there too as well. Pogba showboating a little bit. Past Kroos. Now he's tormenting him, and now he's lost the ball. Oh, that's good work by Kroos. Didn't lose sight of what the real aim was. Muller into Werner. Oh, and Werner and Kroos have lost sight of what they're trying to do.
Second time Werner's made a mistake since he came on.
Here's the challenge then. Well, he's holding on to his arm already. Well, it depends where you decide the challenge is. Is it with his arm pulling him back, or is it with the leg coming round the back of him and getting the ball?
Well, it's the second. He takes the ball. Yes, the arm is arm contact, but that's not enough to whistle for a penalty. Had he manhandled him, maybe, but that wasn't the case.
Sané uses speed to get past Rabiot. Hernandez, though, stops him going down the wing. Gundogan into Kroos. Kroos got space in front of him, petered out, and Pogba there stretched out another leg and somehow managed to reel that in. The football equivalent of fly fishing.
Wasn't a great pass by Kroos.
Well, it's not there yet, but Didier Deschamps' men not too far away from claiming a first victory. No Dimitri Payet, sorry, in this team. Of course, he was the hero of their opening game in the 2016 European Championships. But the Marseille man not in the squad this time.
Yeah, well, France have played better today than they did in that opener against Romania 5 years ago. That was very nervous. It took Payet's late free kick to edge a victory 2-1.
Yeah, you might remember him in tears after he came off afterwards. The emotion of what he'd achieved was so great for him. Griezmann's down. Looks at the referee in anguish and slightly appealing manner.
Well, I thought it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Goossens there just with a loose touch.
Oh, I take that back, Griezmann.
Yes, it was a foul, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Is it me, or does he look like Lucas Podolski?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that to him. Slightly more brutal looker to him than Lucas Podolski.
That's it. That's a generous free kick.
Yeah. Well, the French fans are happy.
Kimmich was in two minds there. He knew it needed a second challenge on Kimpembe, but he couldn't afford to leave Lucas Hernandez free to streak down the wing.
Forward by Conte into Benzema. Rabiot picks it up and is tackled by Ginter. Kroos. And the chance for Goossens to come forward again. You can see how much time he spent on the deck.
So straight away, that French defensive block in place. It's worked like a charm. Every blue shirt back in his own defence.
Well, Germany outscoring France in most of the attack-minded statistics, except the one that counts. Here comes Kimmich to Ginter. Ginter with a chance to put it into the middle, and again it's Pogba who just reels in the ball. Hummels, though, nice header to find Kroos. Now to Kimmich. They're coming again, the crowd trying to lift their side, but a good tackle by Griezmann.
Griezmann is just everywhere. It's sensational to watch.
Yes, we haven't already seen the best. It's not been the best attacking performance from France today. But my goodness me, they're putting in a defensive shift as a unit, as a team. To Sané, into Rudiger. Rudiger again finds Kroos here, heading towards slight panic stations now for Germany. Portugal, of course, though, scored all of their goals in this from this period onwards, 84 minutes onwards. So anything is still possible. Guerreiro's opener, followed by 2 goals from Cristiano Ronaldo. Nice little pirouette from Pogba and an even better ball. And here they come again. And Benzema will finish off the victory for France. A magnificent comeback to the national side for Karim Benzema. He might split opinion back home, but surely there'll be more getting behind him now after that. Terrifically unselfish from Mbappe and those 3 Holy Trinity men involved.
Not offside, not Mbappe. Benzema was, but he wasn't interfering with play then. What a finish. Perfect layup by Mbappe, stretching the German defence. It was 2 against 1. And Benzema, well, that's the reason why he's regarded as one of, if not the best centre-forward. Just waiting for the VAR check.
Yes, we're not home and hosed yet, are we? They are checking this. We've already had 1 goal ruled out. It's a goal. No, it's not a goal. Oh, my goodness me.
Well, you may be confused by the scoreline graphic, which is showing 2-0. But the VAR obviously ruled that Benzema was offside. They can't believe it.
And Germany making a couple more substitutions. Kevin Volland, who, like Karim Benzema, is making his return to the German national side rather than the French one for the first time in a long while, is going to come on. And Emre Can, who we thought was going to come on earlier, will finally make it for the last, well, 3 or 4 minutes by the time they get on.
Well, the scoreline's been corrected now. Still 1-0.
So Benzema's glory is stolen from him. Müller. Now, will Germany be able to take advantage of that piece of luck? Kimmich into Müller. That's handball by Rabiot, right on the edge of the box.
Well, in a matter of seconds, we've gone from 2-0 to a very good field position for Germany. And they need to bring on the substitutions now. It's a good time.
It's Matis Ginter who's coming off. Emre Can coming on to replace him. Well, it's a sort of an attacking substitution, a midfielder on for a defender, and Kevin Volland comes on, who's had a magnificent season for Monaco, reinvigorating his career after leaving Bayer Leverkusen. 16 goals from the former Hoffenheim star.
He comes on for Gosens. That's not like for like. That's a striker for a defender. So Germany throwing caution to the wind, and they've got to. It doesn't matter now if they lose 1-0 or 2-0.
Here is Sané then, and it's well over the bar. Rather a waste.
No, I think so. More speed, less haste. It's nowhere near.
Well, there is the offside. And,
Well-
well, it was. They were both offside in the end.
VAR's got it right again.
And Corentin
Tolisso, you're right.
Liso
yes.
is coming on as well. I nearly said Corentin Steltown, which of course is a metro station in Paris. And it's Karim Benzema. Oh, he must have been a bit gutted. Thought he'd scored what would be the clincher in the game. He's had a good match, though, on his return to the French national side. And it was good as well that dead leg has held out as well that he sustained against Bulgaria.
Yeah, I think that's the big positive for France. Benzema has shown his fitness. Had a good game.
So a confirmation there of Kevin Folland coming on. Of course, Wissam Ben Yedder is on the bench for France, his Monaco teammate with whom he had such a spectacular time in attack in Liga, in the Coupe de France.
And Tolisso's first touch leads to a corner kick.
Yes, needed to get there though. Tony Kroos, as we head towards the final minute, doesn't get air on that anywhere near like he should have done, but it's come out to Emre Can. Sané. Sané rebuilding his career at Bayern Munich after an underwhelming time at Manchester City. He's got the ball in, it somehow reached his Rudiger, but it's out by Rabiot and then out by N'Golo Kanté. That's given away by Griezmann, who will think he was fouled by Folland. The referee, though, waves play on. Kimmich out to Muller. It's the first time we've really seen Muller out on that right flank where he usually spends his time for Bayern Munich. And he's gone behind for a goal kick.
It's the closing seconds of regulation time now. There will be considerable amount of stoppage time for that concussion to Benjamin Pavard.
Well, it's not surprising that Jogi Löw is looking nervous and Rabiot is down.
Well, Didier Deschamps is looking pretty nervous too. Clock's ticking. Clutching the right side of his face is Rabiot.
Yeah, I think he needs to get on with it.
Well, we need to see the incident again.
Well, if he is that injured, he should be heading towards the sideline. Because if he stays on the pitch, he's got to carry on.
He's not happy.
Well,
The referee needs to take control here.
yeah, you see there Thomas Muller is saying, well, get off the pitch then if you're injured.
Clock's still ticking.
Well, there's 6 minutes, and that was before this little stoppage happened.
And I'm sure Radio Thomas Muller is reminding the referee of that.
He's stealing the French physio's water as well.
Dembele. Unusual substitution. What's that? What's the philosophy there? Attack is the best form of defence. He is lightning fast, is Dembele.
He certainly is. He's had an up and down season and an up and down time of it at Barcelona. They paid a fortune for him 3 or 4 years ago.
From Germany, of course. Used to play in the Bundesliga at Borussia Dortmund. I always felt he left too soon. A season or two too soon. But when the big Spanish clubs come a-calling, it takes a strong character to resist.
Yes, Ilkay Gundogan did a very similar thing. He left Dortmund as well and went to Real Madrid, but of course he left Dortmund when he was injured and never really got fit.
Nuri Sahin.
It's Nuri Sahin, excuse me, you're right.
Gundogan, the man who
Gundogan came in to
replaced
replace
Sahin.
him, didn't he, at Dortmund. Forward by Neuer, into Can. Can trying to fend off N'Golo Kanté. It's like trying to hold off a very angry terrier. Here's Chan again.
Nicely put. Again, those two lines of four in place.
Sané tries to open it up. It's Hernandez who comes across to make the challenge before Sané could make the shot. Kimmich, beautifully taken down, running away from Rabiot, who seems to have magically recovered. Hernandez, good clearance, but out to Hummels. Hummels finds Kroos. Kroos sends it back to where it came from. Into Muller. Kimmich will take an awful lot to get him go down. And Varane tricks away the clearance.
Well, there was an argument for a free kick there. Referee played the advantage, which came to nothing.
Muller finds Chan, who is being pursued by the new man on, Tolisso, another man from Bayern Munich. So many relationships between the players on both sides through their clubs, either as teammates or as opposition, with Bayern Munich having played Paris Saint-Germain a couple of times in the last two Champions Leagues.
Here's the man who made the big decision, and he got it right.
Yes, that was not exactly there. It's pure daylight there between the blue of the defender and the red of the attacker. Dembele might finally get on in a minute.
Rabiot, the man coming off, eventually.
Yes. Well, Ousmane Dembele's had a strange season. He has had a hamstring problem the last season or so, which has really stunted him. However, he still managed to play 30 times in the Liga. Only 3 assists, though, which is not really good enough for a man who was brought in to create goals for others. Folland takes it quickly. Same can't be said of him. He had a spectacular season creating for others and scoring himself for Monaco under the new Niko Kovac era. Former Bayern Munich manager himself, or coach. Never quite worked out for Niko Kovac long term. Never really won over the supporters. He's certainly doing that though with the Monaco supporters as Sané falls over and the ball goes out. And time ticks on.
Yeah, Sané hasn't really happened for him. It's almost as if he's trying too hard. Kimmich took a risk there, hoping to wrong foot. His marker. Paul, stick to your marking.
Yeah.
Is the message from Didier Deschamps. Into the final minute now of additional time.
It is, but I'm sure we'll see another minute added on at the end of that because of Rabiot's little stoppage. Excellently done by Chan, feeds it back into Neuer. Neuer with a short pass out to Rudiger. They'll need to get the ball forward though. They're running out of time now, Germany. Moments away from losing their opening match at a European Championship tournament for the first time in their history. A side that has won the title 3 times. Reached the semi-finals of the last 2. They reached the final in 2008. Here's Sané. Folland, and it's too hard for everybody in the box, and that's 6 minutes up. Now we're on the discretion of the referee.
Well, that was Sané's best contribution to the game so far. Showed good strength, specifically upper body strength.
There's an awful lot of echoes here of the opening match of the World Cup. Jogi Löw getting that same sinking feeling. They lost all 3 games and became the latest reigning world champions to go out in the group stage when they were defending their title. It is not starting well. It's been a tight, close, well-fought match, and in the end it's going to be a mistake that settles it. And it might be worse. Neuer, though, there gets ahead of Mbappe, and again his distribution is instant. Looking for Werner. Varane is there, though, with the header. Forward, though, comes Folland, and again it's a loose ball. from the substitute. He's not doing anything to cover himself in glory here in his cameo role.
Again, it's a problem with substitutes. They come on and he was just overdoing it there. His cause wasn't helped by Muller slipping at the wrong moment.
I don't think the weight is doing Didier Deschamps' heart any good at the moment. Whereas Jogi Löw almost looks resigned to what's coming.
Yep, slumped in his chair. The body language is negative.
Referee still allowing play to carry on. On by Pogba, goes out though for a throw-in to the reigning world champions.
And the 2,500 French fans who've made the trip over, they'll be well pleased.
Well, it's not been hasn't been full of the most quality in terms of attack, but there's been a lot of good defence on display this evening from both sides. Forward by Pavard, that looked like a foul throw. The referee blows, and France take the initial step towards retaining their supremacy in world football. The world champions beating Germany, their predecessors as World Cup winners. It was an own goal in the first half by Mats Hummels from a cross by Hernandez that settles it in the end. A titanic struggle between two top sides, but in the end, it's France who are going to take it. In Germany, France have won by 1-0.
Yeah, as you say, very tense, very tight match. France, I would say, are the better team on paper. That goes without saying. Germany put in a good performance, as you'd expect, playing. Between two very good teams. Now, ordinarily, in a group, it wouldn't matter, but this is the so-called group of death, and Portugal have won their opener.
Yeah, Portugal will top the group at the end of this evening after their 3-0 win earlier over Hungary. Okay, Gundogan looks very reflective and resigned to what's happened. It was a decent performance from Germany, but they never really got their attack going, and that was the problem. Hugo Lloris was left unmolested for far too long in the game, and they had their chances. The best of them really volleyed into the ground and over the bar, but France could have won by more. Offside coming to save Germany with Karim Benzema denied a...
Na naam, Ufaransa baada dakika 97 amtitiga amkamua Mjerumani, na mwishowe Mjerumani akubali kusalimu amri, na baada ya kupigwa kibao 1-0 katika mechi hii kati ya Ufaransa dhidi ya Ujerumani. Yapo matukio mengi ya kuzungumza, magoli mawili kukataliwa, dakika kuongezwa hadi kupitiliza kufika dakika 97, na baadhi ya matukio yaliyotokea pale tunataka yote kuyafahamu zaidi. Na rejea kwa wachambuzi wangu, tukiwa tutaanza na Were. Je, tathmini yako ya dakika hizi 97? Ufaransa walistahili ushindi ule kwa sababu tuliona mshike peleka na kupeleke mpaka dakika ya mwisho.
Wamestahili kwa aina mchezo ambao tumeshuhudia dimbani kwa mwenyeji, na ni kutokana ubora wa kikosi chenyewe. Walikuja wakiwa wamejiamini na utulivu mkubwa pasi na kumdharau mwenyeji, na pia vile vile wakifahamu fika kwamba mwenyeji ana kikosi ambacho kusema la kweli kina ubora wa aina yake mpaka kwenye benchi. Kwa hiyo walikuja wakiwa wamejipanga na kimkakati zaidi. Ukiangalia vizuri ndio mabingwa wa dunia hata hivyo. Kwa hiyo wanapofika katika kiwango kikubwa kama hiki, na maana kwamba lazima waoneshe discipline, nidhamu ya hali ya juu. Idara zote zikafanya kazi kikamilifu, licha kuwa kipindi cha pili mwenyeji amekuja kwa moto na radi katika harakati za kupata goli, lakini mambo ikaendea ndivyo sivyo. Kwa hiyo wakufa ni wakufa tu, hata akiwa wamezingirwa na wakwao, licha kwamba walikuwa nyumbani. Napoleon Bonaparte amepata ushindi.
Na coach wanasema ng'ombe wa hanonei mnadani. Hii inamaanisha kwamba Mjerumani alipokuja katika mechi hii hakuwa amejipanga ipasavyo, ama wamezidiwa kwa ubora na timu ile ya Ufaransa.
Ukiangalia Ahmed, ukiangalia timu ya Ujerumani kwa kweli imerudi chini, imeshuka, sio ile Ujerumani wengi wameizoea, lakini ukiangalia kipindi cha pili wameweza kucheza mchezo mzuri, na ukiangalia zile takwimu unaona zile shots on target, ukiangalia complete passes wako juu, lakini ukiangalia kwa mabao wako chini, kumaanisha mechi tunaangalia scores at the end of the day tunajiuliza umefunga mangapi. si umepiga pasi ngapi wala umefanya shot on target ngapi, lakini mabao ni muhimu. Hatakuwa wa kujilaumu sana huyu Hamel, sababu makosa yake imewafanya wakakosa zile pointi muhimu.
Kundi la mauaji, group of death, kundi la mwisho, kundi F. Tulimuona Portugal kashapata ushindi katika mechi yake kwanza, na Ufaransa ameshaonyesha ule uwezo wake. Hebu niambie ugumu wa kundi hili hasa kwa Mjerumani baada ya kupoteza mechi hii.
Na ulisema kwamba mwandiko ni mwandiko tu. Ustamani kuwa Joachim Löw, mkufunzi wa Ujerumani. Nafikiri ule mwandiko wake sidhani hata kama mkewe atausoma, kwa sababu zaidi ya miongo, tunazungumzia miaka 15 akiwa na Ujerumani, huenda mambo yakamalizika vibaya sana, kwa sababu tangu kombe la dunia akiwa bingwa mtetezi, kutolewa hatua ya makundi, sasa analenga haya mashindano. Na kama ulivyosema, kuna baadhi ya mechi zinachezwa Ujerumani. Kuna mambo nimeangalia wakati wanacheza Ujerumani, kipindi cha pili wamekuja wakiwa mnyama tofauti, maana walijua lazima waliregeshe lile bao, si kama walivyoanza kipindi cha kwanza. Na hata mabadiliko aliyofanya, nafikiri coach alikuwa ameona mageuzi, wakawaleta Leroy Sane tulipokuwa tumebashiri, Kai Havertz akapumzishwa, Timo Werner akaja kujaribu kuzalisha na kusukuma zile nafasi. Gnabry alipoteza nafasi moja nzuri ya wazi
katika dakika za kwanza kipindi cha pili.
Sasa inamalizaje? Manake tulizungumzia kwamba kama Hungary atakuwa kibonde katika kundi hili, sasa ni Mjerumani, Mfaransa na Mreno, nafasi ya kwanza, ya pili, na labda best loser, maana ni mashindano ya timu 24. Lakini ukiangalia walivyocheza, bado nafasi ipo Wajerumani, na najaribu kujiuliza kama si ile VAR Wafaransa wangeondoka na mabao matatu. Jambo la kwanza. Jambo la pili, nimegundua wanavyocheza Wajerumani, pamoja na kwamba walishambulia sana kipindi cha pili, wanaweza wakafungika, hasa ile ngome yao, umeona inavuja kweli kweli. Kwa nafikiri Joachim Löw ana kazi, na Jumamosi nafikiri atakuwa anacheza na Ureno.
Ndio
mtoto Cristiano ambaye amevunja rekodi zake tumeziona. Sidhani kama hali ni nzuri kule Ujerumani. Unakumbuka nilikueleza mechi ya Macedonia ile walifungwa hapo nyumbani 2-1
tena katika kipindi cha miaka 38. Inaonyesha kwamba timu haiko thabiti.
Lile gari haliendi.
Dakika 65 Kylian Mbappe afunga goli lile likakataliwa. Dakika 85 anapachika lingine tena, kashasherekea sana, linakataliwa. Je, unakubaliana na mwamuzi huyu Del Cerro kutoka kule Hispania katika maamuzi ya kukataa magoli haya mawili?
Hakukataa, bali ni usaidizi ngambo ya pili. Kwa maana kukata mizizi ya fitna, manake hawaamini katika kuhalalisha haramu katika michuano hii, na kutokana na hilo ni kwamba walipima vizuri, wakaona kwamba alikuwa amezidisha. Ile anapenda mikimbio anaofanya uwanjani wa muda wote, na ni mwepesi katika kufanya mikimbio, anakwenda pembeni kwa ajili ya kuepusha msongamano, na pia vile vile ikiwezekana pakubwa anatoa cross kwa faida ya wenzake kwa ajili ya kumaliza. Kwa hiyo ni mchezaji ambaye bado naamini kwamba atapata goli ama magoli katika michuano hii, na hususan ushirikiano wake na wale mafuadi ambao kwa hakika wametwikwa majukumu kwa ajili ya kutafuta magoli.
Ndio, na tumemwona Kylian Mbappe ile pia walikuwa wanalilia kwamba ni mkwaju wa penalty. Upande wako coach, unaonaje ile?
Ukiangalia kwa kweli yule mlezi aliweza kufikia mpira vizuri kabla na haswa wakati unafanya tackle kama ile lazima uwe mwangalifu sana, na hivyo ndivyo alivyofanya. Ukiangalia Mbappe pia alianguka mapema, angejaribu kustahimili kidogo ili aweze kumalizia ule mpira.
Naam, turejee kwako Kauleni. Je, unabatilisha ule uamuzi wa kuwaregesha wachezaji waliokuwa wameshastaafu? Maana wanasema ngoma za kizee hazikeshi. Hamels kuregeshwa pale, Mula, je, walikuwa butu katika mechi ya leo?
Maanake hapo na pia kama ulivyomuuliza Were kuhusiana na baadhi ya maamuzi, nafikiri VAR imegonga, ndipo ukiangalia tulionyeshwa ilivyokuwa. Lakini ukiangalia kuna baadhi ya wachezaji unaweza ukawaregesha wakakupa natija, na wengine isionekane. Unakumbuka wakati wake Scholes akiregeshwa kutoka katika ustafu wakati wa Man United na akawasaidia wakatoa taji. Muna sijamuona sana, utaniambia, na kuregesha kwake. Hamels pia tumemwona ameregeshwa, lakini akajifunga yeye ile goli. Kama hapa Mbappe alikuwa anaomba penalti hakufanikiwa. Naweza nikasema kwamba walivyofanya wakicheza kombe la dunia kule Brazil Wajerumani wakati wa kina Schweinsteiger, wakati wao walianza program ya kama miaka 4 kuwatumia vijana. Wakati wanacheza kombe la dunia walikuwa shakoma miaka 26, wastani 27, wakalitoa kombe la dunia. Nafikiri mpira umebadilika sana sasa hivi, na kama wangetumia vijana kama Leroy Sane, Gnabry, uliona walipoingia wakabadilisha mchezo, hali ingekuwa tofauti. Kwa hiyo nafikiri huenda lile swala la kuwaregesha wakongwe likawachongea.
Joachim Löw aliishiwa ujanja ama hakutumia busara kutomwanzisha Leroy Sane pamoja na Timo Werner, wachezaji ambao wanaweza kufanya mikimbio ile na kutengeza space. Tukiangalia kina Gnabry leo walikuwa baridi, Muller hawakuelewana vizuri na Kai Havertz kipindi cha kwanza.
Amezungumzia vizuri lakini niseme zamani mpira kwa mtazamo wangu ilikuwa ni sanaa. Leo hii soka ni sayansi.
Wewe ukisema zamani ni miaka ya
miaka 70, 80, 90 kipindi hiko cha nyuma. Lakini leo hii umeona ile goli la Yomachenko ama nani
juzi,
yule mskochi pia ama ilikuwa ni
check
uliona unapiga mpira kiufundi unaona kwa ajili ya kupata matokeo. Umeuliza swali kuhusiana na mbinu za mwalimu na kwa sasa ndio shughuli yake ambayo ya mwisho akiwa na timu hii ya Ujerumani. Anatamani kumaliza akiwa na sifa ya kupigwa mfano kwa ajili ya kutoa ubingwa, lakini sio rahisi. Leo hii kila mmoja yupo katika ubora wake. Timu mbalimbali zina wachezaji ambao wana uwezo mkubwa. Aliweka kikosi sahihi, ni kwa vile wamezidiwa nguvu na maarifa na hawa wa Faransa kwa mtazamo wangu.
Tuje katika kikosi cha Ufaransa tena. Tumemwona Kylian Mbappe na Karim Benzema wameshirikiana vizuri pamoja na Paul Pogba. Je, wewe unapendekeza kwamba mechi zinazofuata ndio kikosi kitumike kuendelea mbele?
Ukiangalia kwa kweli ni vijana ama ni ushambulizi ambao kwa kweli wanashirikiana kwa vizuri sana. Muangalie Kylian Mbappe, speed yake nzuri. Karim Benzema anajua sana kufanya ile tunaita kujiposition kama striker. Ukiangalia bao ambayo kweli imeweza kukataliwa, ukiangalia jinsi wanavyosimama, jinsi wanavyokimbia, kila mtu pembeni mwake, ni vijana ambao kwa kweli wakishirikiana hivi itakuwa vizuri. Lakini pia Giroud ni kijana mzuri, kumaanisha labda kocha ataweza kuangalia aone kama ataweza kumjumuisha katika kikosi kijacho ama pia atawacha hawa vijana. Na akiwacha pia wanaweza, kikosi chake kimesimama haswa ushambulizi.
Sasa kauli zile za kumalizia Kauleni, mechi za raundi ya kwanza katika makundi zimekamilika. Tunakwenda katika sasa mechi za pili kwenye makundi. Wewe ni timu gani ile imekuridhisha sana, kwa sababu tumeona miamba ikidhihirisha?
Kwa hakika swali zuri sana, na maana ukiangalia Ufaransa tumeona kazi kubwa amefanya Paul Pogba kuisambaza ile mipira, na kama lile bao lingekubalika, ule ushangilizi wa Mbappe na Benzema ulikuwa unarusha ujumbe fulani labda kwa Olivier Giroud. Lakini nitasema hivi Bahaji, nilimeona Ubelgiji na kina Lukaku walivyokuja, kikosi kizuri sana. Nimeona Wafaransa hapa walivyofanya mauaji. Ronaldo amevunja rekodi kwa mara nyingine. Sasa hivi mabao tunazungumzia 105 na Euro 5 mfululizo akifunga bao. Kila timu tumeiona. Ujerumani naanza kuwadondosha. Italia walicheza vizuri, uliona walivyocheza. Kwa hiyo Ureno wapo, Italia wapo, Ufaransa wapo, lakini jiulize Italia alicheza dhidi ya nani? Mreno amecheza dhidi ya nani? Huyu ni Mfaransa amecheza dhidi ya Mjerumani. Kwa hiyo ameonyesha yuko katika hali nzuri, lakini usisahau kuna watu watakuja walitarajia kama vibonde wakasumbua kama Slovakia, lakini bado mpaka sasa baada ya kuziona mechi zote za makundi, nduguye Michael Were yuko pazuri golo kati kwa maana ya Ufaransa.
Swali la kizushi pia Fitna, mwaka 2014 wakati wa kombe la dunia Mjerumani akishinda, sivyo?
Naam, kule Brazil.
Joachim Low la kizushi hili alikuwa na tabia fulani, alipatikana katika kamera zile mikono akipeleka katika makao makuu.
Lakini tunaona hata baadhi ya wakufunzi leo akifungwa bao ama akifunga
leo bwana, lakini jamaa tabia gani zile?
Akifungwa ama akifunga bao anashika simu. Sasa Joachim Low ndio simu yake.
Wewe
labda kamwambia
unasema ni anazungumza na wazee
pale, labda pengine ni itikadi wamezoea kama taratibu hizo za maisha. Kama fulani hapo kutoka
mazoea na tabu
Manyani maximum prison pass Ndirangu anasema ni kawaida yake. Kwa hiyo kila mmoja yupo anashika simu, yupo
piga chupa zile mateke na lile, sio Mourinho akipiga zile chupa mateke
na yule wa Leeds United namuona wakati
Baselo amechuchuba
kama anataka kwenda aje namna hiyo. Haya, timu ambazo zimekufurahisha kwa haraka upesi, wewe na coach tukimalizia?
Nisipoteze muda. Ufaransa wapo vizuri, wajukuu wa Vasco da Gama kwa maana Ureno wako sawa sawa, Warumi kwa maana Italia pia vile vile wanakuja vizuri, lakini bado ni mapema sana kwetu sisi kufanya maamuzi kwa ajili ya kusema ni nani ataweza kutoa ubingwa. Ndio.
Haya coach, na wewe timu ambazo umeona kazi kuntu?
Pia mimi Ufaransa kwa kweli leo wamecheza vizuri, wamefanya kazi yao vizuri, wamecheza na timu ambayo ni ngumu jinsi Hassan amesema. Ukiangalia pia Ubelgiji pia wamefanya kazi nzuri, walicheza mechi nzuri. Pia angalia Ureno. Ureno wamecheza vizuri, kumaanisha hizo timu tatu kwangu naona kuna kitu.
Jambo lipo. Mimi ni kutoa shukrani sana kwa wachambuzi wangu, wataalamu wa ulama kutoka hapa, Michael Were pamoja na kocha mzoefu sana John Jogu na mtangazaji namba 1 wa kabumba hapa nchini Kenya Ali Hassan Kauleni. Na wanasema bwana, kisicho riziki hakiliki. Kuteleza si kuanguka bwana. Kwa Mjerumani huenda kama amepoteza mechi ya kwanza, lakini bado mechi ndio mkoko unaanza kualika maua. Kwa hivyo katika hili dimba la Euro, shabiki wangu, acha nikwambie, hatuhitaji kwenda mahakamani. Wewe unanihukumu mimi na mimi nakuhukumu wewe. Mshindi anapatikana. Tuzidi kutegea KTN News kwa matangazo haya na mechi hizi za dimba la Euro. Asante sana shabiki wangu pia kwa muda wako. Tuzidi kukutana hapa napo majaliwa. Mimi naitwa Ahmed Bahaj. Uwe na usiku mtulivu. Kwaheri.
Sparks flying from the sun.
Okay, reggae lovers, my name is DJ Steve Jr. Tupatane kila Friday after curfew ndani ya KTN Home na BTV. Rabajam Friday, #ni party all DJs.
A glass and make room for others, because good taste doesn't have a time or place. Why? Smooth taste. That's why. Don't drink and drive. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Excessive consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health.
Anyway, is Zach around? No, he went visiting with family. Don't tell me you have another piping issue and you want to crash at my house again.
He's even hanging up the phone.
Uko kwa ngori ya aina gani?
Steve paid me half in cash, half in check.
Si at least umelipwa nusu.
No, the check has bounced.
Unaenda kumbit him. Unaenda kumtoka vita ingine haijaionekana hapa.
What are you doing here?
I mean, have you been?
Not thinking about you since you decide to vanish with not so much a phone call.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Stella, Tony's best friend.
You replaced me?
Yap, tunasema nguvu kijijini, mjini akili. Kaa kijanja, ndio maana una stick in na iwake ndani ya KTN.
Of course, usikose kutune in every Saturday kutoka 10 p.m. hadi 12 a.m.
An amazing show called Iwake Live.
The hashtag is #KTN Iwake, #Flona Chrome.
Yep, ainaga kufeli. Zagada.
Hii ni ya wale attitude yao is not just now what, but so what, because ni hiyo attitude could determine altitude.
For many of us, home is a place where we find our inner peace, a place where we find the most comfort, a place where we recharge, a place where we create laughter and all the good memories. But most importantly, a place where we all belong. At KTN Home, we believe there is something for everyone. So catch all the comedy, telenovelas, Nollywood, music, sporting action, kids shows, documentaries, movies, dramas and reality shows, all to make you and your family feel right at home. You can also stream live at www.standardmedia.co.ke/KTN Home/live on your favorite device. KTN, welcome home.
party anta party kama sio party, all DJs kila Thursday tupatane ndani ya KTN Home Beat TV. DJ Bob.
Grab a glass and make room for others, because good taste doesn't have a time or place. Why? Smooth taste. That's why. Don't drink and drive. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Excessive consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health.
We've been all through it, you know. We go to school, study hard, get the much-deserved grades, and celebrate our graduation. Then reality hits us. We get to the job market and we simply don't know where to start off. Thankfully, by visiting jobs.standardmedia.co.ke, your next career breakthrough could be a click away. Get the best in career advice, employment opportunities, internships, and part-time jobs. Give your career the much-needed lift on jobs.standardmedia.co.ke or get SMS alerts by signing up on our website at 5 shillings only.
Najua kijaa is doing the same thing off and off again, na una expect upata different result. Unatembea kwa ile barabara ila tu ulitembea ukapotea.
Give your callers a laugh with the Kicha clip of the day by dialing *811 *918#. Set the tone with Skiza.
This is KTN. Welcome home.
The following program has been rated GE. It is therefore suitable for general viewing.
Welcome to Gospel Truth with Andrew Womack, a teaching ministry that focuses on God's unconditional love and grace.
You have that raising from the dead power, the greatest display of God's power that has ever existed in the history of the world. That same power is in you.
That is the gospel in one sentence right there. You've already got it.
And now, here's Andrew.
Welcome to our Tuesday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. Today I'm into my second week of teaching on a subject that I've entitled, You've Already Got It. And I tell you, this is powerful. This is one of the greatest applications of what I've taught under the series that I call Spirit, Soul, and Body. It's talking about who you are in Christ. And once you understand that in the Spirit you are already complete, that your spirit is as completely saved as it will ever be, it is identical to Jesus, 1 John chapter 4, verse 17. And once you understand that, then you understand that you aren't trying to get more of God. You've already got the fullness of the Godhead. The rest of the Christian life is a releasing. It's a renewing of the mind to what you already have, and then learning how to release what you already have. That's what I've been talking about. And we've been dealing with this now for, this is my 7th program. I started this series a week ago yesterday. So I've basically covered Ephesians chapter 1. If you've missed any of this teaching, please go back and get it. You can go to our website. We have all of our programs located on there, and you can watch Monday's broadcast. You can go back through the entire previous week, and you need to have the context of all of this. But in chapter 1, it was all written not about what God might do, could do, would do in the future, but it's all about what has already been done. You're already blessed with all spiritual blessings. You have already been chosen in Him. You are already accepted in the Beloved. You already have wisdom. You already have been sealed, and on it goes. And then he prays a prayer in verses 15 through the end of the chapter, verse 23. This is Ephesians chapter 1. And he prays that your eyes would just be opened to what you already have, the greatness of the power that has been directed towards you, the same power that was used to raise Jesus from the dead. Those are the things we've already covered. Man, if you've missed any of that, please get it. It would change your life. So let's continue into chapter 2. And remember that the Bible was not written in chapter and verses. These were added later to help us identify things, and they're very useful. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying that chapter 2 is not a new thought. It's not like it's a new chapter and it somehow or another is it's not related. This is just a continuation of the exact same things that we've been studying all the way through chapter 1. So in chapter 2 it says, "You hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins." Notice it didn't say you can he quicken. If you will pray, he will quicken in the future. This is obtainable. It's possible. No, he's saying you have already been quickened. The word quickened means made alive. When you got born again, you were raised from the dead. And some people think, well, man, it's still the same body that I've got. No, but the spirit man was dead in trespasses and sins. And you've been raised from the dead. You've been quickened. You've been made alive. And in the Spirit, you are a brand new person. 2 Corinthians 5:17, a new species that never existed before. Your spirit is perfect. And that's what it's talking about. Notice it's all in the past tense. That when you get born again, this is not something that you are moving towards that will be finalized and complete when you go to heaven. No, your spirit is as saved right this moment as it will ever be. It's not going to be cleaned, dusted off, infused with more power. You have the same spirit on the inside of you right this moment that you will have throughout all eternity. Man, that is powerful. I've already taught on that. In verse 2 it says, "Wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in time past, in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others." Again, this same terminology. Now it's talking about who you were before you got born again, and all of that is in the past tense. You were by nature a children of wrath, but you are not by nature a child of the devil anymore. Again, there's confusion in the body of Christ over this. The average Christian, I would say the majority of Christians, believe that you have a new nature and a sin nature. That's not what the Bible teaches. I'm not going to teach on this right now, but your sin nature is gone, and all you have is a new nature, and it's not in a baby form. It is absolutely complete, full. But the problem is that we don't know what we have. We've got to renew our mind. The growth in the Christian life is not your spirit growing, it's your mind growing in understanding and how to release it, and then your actions growing in obedience to what God is showing you. But in the same way that we are already all of these things in Christ, you are now no longer all of these things. You were children of wrath, even as others. In verse 4 it says, "But God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love, wherewith he loved us." Boy, that is a powerful verse. You can read this in some translations, that I'm doing it by memory now, but it says something similar to that God, for his great love, and in order to satisfy his great love, commended his love toward us. In other words, God didn't love us because we were lovely. He loves us because he is love. 1 John chapter 4, verse 8. In verse 5, "Even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together." Again, this is something that's already a reality. It's not something that we are in sins, and if we will praise God that someday he will quicken us. No, we were in sins before we got born again, and now we have already been quickened, made alive together with Christ. "For by grace ye are saved, and hath raised us up together." Notice the terminology, he hath done it. It's already happened. Some of you don't feel raised from the dead. That's because you live in your physical body and in your emotions more than you live in who you are in Christ. But if you could understand and receive this and change your identity to, this is not who I am. You know, if you're in prison right now, maybe you've done something wrong and you are every day being confronted with your sin, and you're being incarcerated and separated from the world because of the danger you were to people you're being punished. Some of you, it would be easy for you just to think, but I am a con, I am a crook, I have murdered, or whatever it is. But you know, when you get born again, you become a new person in Christ, 2 Corinthians 5:17. And even though you may still have physical consequences, you may still be in that jail cell, you are not that same person anymore. You have been quickened together with Christ. You have been raised from the dead. The spirit man on the inside of you is clean and pure and doesn't have any impurity in it at all. And if you could see that and totally embrace it and start living out of your spirit, you could be free even though you're behind bars. Even if you aren't in prison, you could be free from the pain in your body, even though you still have that pain there, but you could have it in your heart. You could know it's done, and it's just a matter of time until the body gets in line. Your whole life flows from your spirit. This is why when people aren't born again, that their life, you can do all of the self-help things that you want to. You can go through all the behavior modification courses that you can go to, and you can change your existence to a degree, but your spirit is dead and separated from God. And as it says right here in this verse 3, that you are by nature a child of the devil, even as others. And if you don't get that spirit changed, you can change the outside all you want to. Go get plastic surgery. Go get all of this reconstruction done. You can make it look good on the outside, but inside, you're still going to be dead. But on the other hand, when you make Jesus your Lord, you get born again. And even though you could still be in a jail cell, even though you could still have physical problems, financial problems, in your spirit, you have been raised from the dead. And you can learn to start letting the spirit man control your life. And it's just a matter of time until what's in your spirit will flow out. Your whole life flows from your spirit, and it will flow out through you, and it will produce deliverance in your emotions from depression, discouragement, defeat, anger, bitterness, hurt, unforgiveness. It will produce physical healing in your body, but you've got to walk in the Spirit. And you can't do that if you don't know what's happened to you on the inside. You've got to believe that it's already done. You don't need God to raise you from the dead. You are raised from the dead, is what this is saying. He hath raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Christ Jesus, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness towards us through Christ Jesus. And then in verse 8 it says, for by grace ye are saved. You aren't going to be saved. Now there is a truth that your physical body is going to be changed. Your mind is going to be renewed when we get to heaven. But in the spirit realm, you are already changed. 2 Corinthians 5:17, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. All things are become new. In your spirit, you are already changed. So it's not something that's going to happen. It'll be completed, spirit, soul, and body, when we go to heaven. But right now, in this life, if you are born again, your spirit is as changed as it will ever be. 1 John chapter 4, verse 17 says, herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, speaking of Jesus, so are we in this world. Not in the world to come, but in this world. That's not true of your physical body. It's not true of your mind. But in your spirit, you are identical to Jesus right now. If you've been born again. If you've made Jesus your Lord. Man, that is radical. And now in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, how did all of this happen? For by grace are ye saved, through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. This is saying you're saved by grace through faith. You aren't saved by grace, or you aren't saved by faith. You are saved by the combination of the two. Now let me just go back up to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 5. In a parenthetical phrase, it says here, in the end of the verse, by grace ye are saved. So I don't think it's totally wrong to say you're saved by grace. I don't think it's totally wrong to say you're saved by faith. Like, for instance, if a person was telling me, hey, God has to save me, because I'm such a good person. I mean, I'm better than this person over here. I live so holy. I believe God owes it to me. Then I'd say, no, you're saved by grace, not by what you do. That would be a true statement. But it's not full. It's not complete, because you aren't saved by grace alone. You are saved by grace through faith. And let me just break this down and share this with you in a way that you can understand this. But grace is what God does for you independent of you. Actually, before you ever existed. It says in John chapter 1 that we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus was grace. He was God's grace manifest to this world. It also says that the grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. So grace is something that came through Jesus 2,000 years ago. It was independent of you. It was before you existed. It's before I existed. It doesn't have anything to do with us. You know, you can define grace in many different ways, but most people would accept that the simplest definition is that grace is unearned, unmerited, undeserved favor, the favor of God. Grace is not based on your performance. If your performance has to enter into it, well, then it's not grace, because it's got to be unearned, undeserved, unmerited favor. So it has nothing to do with you. Grace is God's part, and it is independent of you and me. So by grace you're saved. God did things 2,000 years ago through Jesus. Romans chapter 5 verse 8. But God commended His love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. That's grace. Jesus didn't come to give us what we deserve. We deserve death. The Bible says in Romans 3:23 that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All of us. People will sometimes grade sins and say, oh, that's a sinner over there, whereas I'm not. No, the Bible says all of us have sinned. There's just varying degrees of being lost, varying degrees of sinner, but all have sinned. And what is the payment for sin? Well, it's not that those who just do a little bit of sin only get a little bit of punishment. No, it says in Romans chapter 6, verse 23, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. Eternal life is a gift. It is not a wage. You don't earn eternal life. None of us deserve to be saved. Nobody. You know, relative to other people, I've lived a really holy life. I'm over 70 years old now. I've never said a word of profanity. I've never used a cuss word. I've never taken a drink of liquor. I never smoked a cigarette. A holy life relative to other people, but who wants to be the best sinner that ever went to hell? I've sinned. I've come short of the glory of God, and the wages of sin is death. There isn't death number 2 and death number 3. If you fall short of heaven by an inch, you miss it by a mile. I needed a Savior. And Jesus came and died for me, but He did it 2,000 years ago. God's grace was extended 2,000 years ago. Before I lived, before I had sinned, before my need of salvation even existed, God had already paid for my sins. He had already forgiven my sins. Now that doesn't mean that I'm automatically saved, because it says here that you're saved by grace through faith. Grace is God's part. God did it for us, independent of us, prior to our need. Before we even existed, that's grace.